Ladies and gentlemen, after countless years of warring nations, political unrest, economy in the housing markets just turmoil, crashing not once, not twice, but 3, 4 times, year after year, just mental uncertainty of, is the world going to end? I don't know how many times we've faced just uncertainty in the night. But no longer. But we have to go, I don't know, sadly, into the night. We could go smiles on our faces because a shining beacon of light is finally coming through the night. College football is back!
Whoa! Football is back, man! Amazing grace, how sweet. Let's go, boys. Let's go! Woo! Well, all right, well, welcome into the Ride the Wave show. Adam, nailed it. That was awesome. That might be.
I messed up a little bit there. It was a little touch and go there.
It's not the Ride the Wave until you mess up a little bit.
You ain't messing it up, okay? I'm sitting there like, he's right. Housing market sucks.
I have lived through all of this
for 10 years.
I can't wait to go back and watch that and like look at the script that I loosely came up with and see how much I deviated.
How much you just didn't go with the script. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Adam a round of applause.
I'll give myself a round of applause.
About 5 minutes ago, I looked around and said, hey, you know what would be awesome? If Adam just makes a State of the Union address that college football is back, because that is the only thing that I have done since 8 p.m. last night. And damn it, I've loved every second of it. Adam, let's talk about this. You know, so many people
You guys may not believe this, but I am awful at public speaking.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of it.
Well, hey, you seem like
might as well have been 1,000 people in here.
You might as well have been President Cottle during that speech. I cried. I started shedding some tears.
Look, we don't talk politics, but that was better than what I've seen from the past 4 presidents.
I mean, shit. College football's back, baby. College football's back.
As you know, we got like 8 different jerseys up. It's three college football jerseys up, trying to get in the spirit of it.
When I say me and Ab have not stopped playing this game since 4 o'clock yesterday, 10 minutes before the show started is when we got in this room. Okay, it's been an immaculate time.
I love seeing all the players that went to former schools, and they'll be like, who's this? And it's
Ironton has a linebacker starting for West Virginia on the game.
Yep,
so
right now.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he's actually like their active starter.
Yeah.
Somebody from Pickerington has one, too.
Yeah, and then we're waiting for good old Cade to be on Kent State.
I think, Cade Wolford's going to be on there. It's just a matter of like getting the rookies, or not the rookies, the freshmen. I keep doing that. It's just a matter of getting the freshmen on there.
Now, Adam, you are the only one on this table that lived the revamped life. You have lived it for 11 long years, and then yesterday.
Well, revamped wasn't there for 11 years.
Yeah,
revamped
it was only there for a couple.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 5 years.
Yeah.
For you guys that don't know what revamped is, it's just it's a bunch of guys that were. I don't know if a couple of them worked for EA or if they were just in like coding and programming like college courses and stuff like that. They put together like a basically it was like college football 2020, 21, 22, 23. Like I got.
But on NCAA 14 because you had to.
It was like you had to hack your PlayStation basically to get it.
Say?
It was they had put better graphics into it a little bit, and it felt like it played different. But if you played that and you're like playing the new college football,
could you make it over the shoulder catch?
I mean,
dude, some of the stuff you're doing in the game now, you definitely couldn't have done in 14.
But the biggest thing is like you can tell that some of the devs did get hired on, and you can tell it in like the scoreboard and other stuff like that when you're playing the game. It's like the actual scoreboard at the bottom, and then how you're picking your plays. It looks almost identical. They use like the dark mode, so to speak, on like Twitter or like if you have an iPhone, like that kind of dark mode. Yeah,
my first thing was not the traditional what everybody would have done, taking the small school all the way to the promised land. I had to give Notre Dame that national title. I said, I'm not going to be Brian Kelly. I'm not going to go undefeated or only lose one game, get to the national title, and then blow it. I'm going to finish what needs to be done. And I, in fact, got to the national title game 15-1 and lost. So it's very accurate. It definitely depicts the teams
History
very well.
Still plays into
yes,
the game.
also fuck you, Brian Kelly. I'll say it anytime I can get it. Still hate you. But, yeah, and now Eastern Carolina, they have been I learned very quickly they are Yoda in college football. That is all that they are. And then I took
I partied there once. It was
Eastern
fun.
Carolina?
Yeah.
I've always loved them because of the Pirates. And me and Adam were talking about this earlier, where like on the field they have North Carolina, like the state, and then like
I could
the
be
pirate in it.
completely wrong with this. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure the head coach, his name is Justy Burleson. I'm pretty sure he played there. Like when he went to college, he was Vinton County's head coach when I was in high school. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Ties.
Ties. I like that. But yeah, we could not let this show go a single second without realizing that all that we have been losing for 11 years, the suffering has come to an end. Adam, great State of the Union speech. We will applaud you one more time.
Appreciate it.
Let's get into some local news. Ryo had their football camp this past weekend. Looked like it was a great thing for Coach Wilson out there. Really excited to see what Ryo's going to do.
I'm pumped.
I hate that we have to wait a whole nother – talk about team builder in NCAA football. Ryo Grand probably going to be the first team that I built.
Yeah, Ryo Grand Red Storm.
Yeah. Another thing, don't forget that the 3-on-3 tournament is next weekend.
Also a 4-on-4. It's 4-on-4 if you're an adult.
Yeah, so 3-on-3 if you're in high school or younger, and 4-on-4 for I think it was like 25 and up maybe or something like that.
Hold on.
Adam has all this stuff on that, but it is going to be down in the city park. Again, all of the stuff, all the money being raised for this event is going to go to the 3rd through 6th grade classes.
Yeah, so it's adults 18 and up.
18 and up. Okay, so 18 and up is 4-on-4 weekend. That's 4-on-4 full court, but
now,
like a half full court. Huh?
Did you say the date?
No, I did not.
The 27th through the 28th.
Yes, 27th and 28th. Make sure that you're down there for
youth 3-on-3 starts at 9 a.m. on Saturday, and then the actual adults is, I'm pretty sure, July 28th. So
yep, and the court by the pump house is the single court, the one that's just by itself. The rest other games will be right behind Chillicothe. So there's like 6 courts over there, four or 6 courts over there. So again, make sure that one, you're not only coming out and having a good time, but you're helping donate to the 3rd through 6th grade class to get back to school lunches, back to school supplies, backpacks, everything like that. So make sure we're coming out and supporting the kids, because that's why we're all here. And let's get into the kids. Let's get into the breakdown of the SVC, fellas. Why don't we? Let's start here first with Paint Valley. Paint Valley last year went 8-4. Start off the year hot with. With 8 wins. I had to make sure I was saying that before I said it right. Before, breaks kind of fell off there at the end. They went up against Uniola at home, lost at 45-7, then went
I
and
wouldn't
close.
necessarily call it the breaks falling off. They just played they just played the more stiff competition in
Later, because then they turned around and played Zane Chase the last week of the season on the road. Lost its close one, though, 34-31. Won the first playoff game, then lost a really close, as we always talked about with Cora Dye, a very close Cincinnati Country Day game, 26-14. Again,
believe it or not, that was a night game.
Yeah.
They played it at nighttime. Yeah.
And what the fuck?
You said, Cincinnati Country Day game.
Yeah, I know.
So people know they played it at night.
I hate this show, but I love it so much.
I didn't even get it until he explained it.
Tony's over there like, yeah, great, good joke, good.
I was just like, yeah, it was playing
Why
at
is
night.
Clay dying
I thought he
right
just meant it was cool. I was like, yeah, playing at night, sweet.
Yeah, I love
Yeah, it was a night game. Yeah.
You better fucking believe it was a night game.
Tournament, night game? Hell yeah, brother.
But they got Braylon Robertson, Carson Free, and Preston Faber. So we're all clear now. It is Faber.
There was little rumors of like, I don't know how I want to say this. Yeah, I don't know how I want to say it, so I won't.
You can't not say it now.
Yeah, I want to know something.
Well, so there's just little rumors of maybe there was somebody that transferred off of another school that was possibly coming out there to Paint Valley, and there was people saying that like, oh yeah, that person would have beaten out Preston.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have seen that.
I don't either.
I don't.
I did not see that at all.
It's
did
just
not
so hard
it.
to come in, like, because Preston had put in, like, he was a new kid last year, and he put
You
in
could say
time.
that the kid that we're talking about could be the king of the block.
Yeah.
So here's easily what I'll say. I put my faith in him last year.
Yeah.
Okay, because apparently he wasn't supposed to start last year either. Okay, he wins that job. I highly doubt somebody comes in. I mean, you're
I
talking
don't think
about
it's far fetched, but I think it could have. I just don't think it would have happened
Yeah.
because of chemistry. But
Yeah.
And I think with Preston's running ability,
yeah,
way better than that king of the block. What were you saying, Tone?
Like when you just have Carson Free, he led the league in receiving yards, correct?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
he did not lead. He was in top 4 in the receptions and 4 in receiving yards.
Gotcha.
So he was a top 4 receiver.
But that being said, like, do you really change the quarterback? You know?
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
That's my thing is, especially with last year, like all the growing pains and building as a team they did.
Why
I just
do
don't
it all
think-
over
I just don't
again?
think you would.
Now they do have a guy. My sources, can't give away my sources, told me that they have a new guy, Jeremy Kane, came last year around basketball season. That's going to be the running back spot. That I honestly, God, didn't think you could look at another running back at Paint Valley other than Braylon Robertson. But
Is he going to be a junior this year? Or?
Jeremy Kane,
Yeah.
he will be a junior this year, from what I'm told. He could be a senior, but I'm about 99% sure he's going to be a junior. Very athletic, very quick. I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm just told, don't let him fly too far under our radar. So with that being said, add another piece,
Something they could be thinking is maybe just workload.
Do you think that Paint Valley has to be the favorite just because of how much everybody else lost and how much they have not lost?
I think that is one of the biggest factors is why people would say that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now they lost. I think
it's-
a lot on
it's-
the line is what Corey was
I
saying.
think it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, it is. Now Yoda, they might have something else to say different about that, just because a lot of people count them out this year just because they won last year, losing a lot. Did I go out?
I don't know.
I think I went out. I didn't hear.
I
hear
can't
me.
hear myself either.
I can hear.
See, I can
Tony.
hear Tony. Can you get
Oh,
there?
whoa,
Yeah.
hey,
So
hey.
I could have possibly been out this whole time.
Whole speech is gone, and we're just getting rage.
Yeah,
Everybody's
if
like,
the
"What?"
speech didn't make it, I
Everybody's
killed
like,
that
what
shit.
fucking speech are
I-
you talking about?
I killed it. If you didn't hear, best
If you didn't hear the
like,
speech,
heard it, dude.
you guys would have been asking me to be up there getting
listen,
shot
if
at.
he was a Republican, you were a Democrat, you would have flipped, and vice
Yeah.
versa. That's
Yeah.
exactly how good that
Somebody
speech
would have shot
When
at
did
me for
Trent
sure.
Walters get all these the rest of the yards? I don't remember him leading that.
Dude, that's what I was saying. But anyways, yeah. So
Yeah,
Paint,
he's what we like to call a silent assassin.
Paint Valley, I think it could be theirs to lose. Like you were saying, I think they have a pretty good.
Continuity.
Yeah, I think they got a pretty good chance of taking the league this year. Anything else with Paint Valley before we go to the next school?
Oh no, not
Okay.
really. It's
Alrighty.
just
Let's go to the defending champs then, Yoda. Everybody knows that they're losing Newt Hoops. My dog's going crazy because
Yeah.
every time we talk about Newt Hoops, them dogs go wild. They opened up the season with Vinton County, who went 9-2 last year, but they also are going to lose a lot of stuff.
I think this is. They have the potential to go 9-1
Yeah.
for sure. Just start off 0-1 is probably a gimme.
It's probably a gimme.
We were talking about how they lost. Unioto has lost a lot. You know what they didn't lose? That handsome-looking coach.
Yeah, I was about to say the coach thing there's good. I think that Urbana loss is probably hanging with that Unioto team more than we probably are.
I got a weird feeling about the Unioto team, and I feel like
I don't know what to do with them. David
I think
Long,
they're shedding skin.
I think
I feel
David-
like we keep talking about games that had happened last year,
Yeah.
games that are this. Like, dude, the past 4 years have been dominated by one player, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But I think they're just kind of sitting there, even speaking with Blake, you're kind of, what happened last year? What happened last year? He's kind of sitting there being like, my brother's not the quarterback anymore, but we're gonna keep the same values, but we're gonna be a completely different team.
I hate that I'm sleeping so much on David Long, but
I say
it's hard. It's hard not to when you haven't seen him on.
the only thing that makes it hard to sleep on him is when that conversation we had with Blake, where
Yeah.
it was kind of like, well, he's got confidence in
And
him.
he's a runner.
So
You look at
Yeah.
he got varsity minutes last year and put up hella yards.
He
but
also had the benefit of having like a senior quarterback
Yeah.
who did not for 1 second. be
Aaron
scared of
Rodgers
his
sat
job.
underneath Brett Favre forever, and Aaron Rodgers
I
became
s-
good.
Pre-game, they threw
he
together.
wanted
They
to,
did
yeah.
things like especially
been
when
going
Newt's
through the same
hamstring was
routine.
bad.
Yeah.
Or what? I think it was his hamstring. They're thrown on the sidelines in case he had to go in the game, and it's like that mentorship was there. I feel like in a lot of times, if it's a sophomore, junior, different things like that, like it's not the same love. So I think he probably learned a lot from him, and
I
probably
think with
picked up a lot of
Caden
stuff.
Cutright and Blake Hoops having a lot of faith
Now,
in him too, that's going to help him. A
Is
lot.
Long going to be a sophomore this year?
I think he was a sophomore.
I think
last
yeah.
year.
That's what I was
think
thinking.
it'll
So it
be
was just,
junior.
that sophomore
But
senior
they might
connection
miss him
usually.
on the defense too. You're losing like one of your leading
So
tackles.
that's kind of what I'm scared of is like Do you though? Like if
Was
you're
Will Fleck a senior?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're hoops though, do you? Or do you say like, look, I know you're our quarterback, but you are our middle.
It just
linebacker.
depends on where you feel like you have the most depth at. And I
And
feel
then-
like
yeah, I was
that
about to say
defense is pretty
backup.
it's
Yeah.
pretty taut.
They're going to at least have enough.
I think
bodies
one
to
thing that
rotate.
we're overlooking, I don't know a whole lot about their offensive line, but I think their defensive line this year could be a problem. With James down there, they got a few new pieces. I just
He had some big plays last year.
I think, because they'll have Vinton County. I'm pretty sure they have Amanda Clear Creek at Glenn, and then they'll have Waverly on the road at
Yeah,
Waverly.
that Vinton County game's probably going to be about 14-21, as we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Neither one of those teams can
Could
score
be
over.
13-14.
Yeah.
Like,
they cannot score, and that's both of them.
Yeah.
They cannot score more than 21 points
I
on
think
each other.
there's a-
Hopefully, this is us jinxing it, and they score it's like 42-40 or
I
something
think there's
like
an
that.
OHSA rule that the winner cannot go above 24
Yeah.
points of the Unioto.
I think that's why Vinton County missed that field goal last year is because
Yeah.
they're like, well, I mean, we have to end it in a draw, and we don't want that. So you guys got it first. Well, no, I don't want to take anything away from that. That was a hell of a block field goal by those kids.
It was.
Yeah, it was play versus play at
Short
that time.
touchdown,
You know what I
though.
mean?
Yeah.
Got short of a touchdown.
Could only score 21, dude. It was going to happen no matter what.
But yeah, no, I think I'm going to make a bold statement. I think that I have no idea what Union is going to be this year.
I feel like I can confidently say as a returning champion, they're going to have a lot to prove to themselves and to other teams in the league.
All right, Tony, how many wins do you think Unioto gets this year, regular season? Remember, there's 10 games.
8.
I'm going to say I say they'll probably get at least 7. So you got to think.
That's exactly where I was.
You're thinking
7.
maybe that's giving them maybe 2 losses in regular in conference play
Yeah.
outside of
That's what I was kind of
conference.
thinking too. Is I have to be more. What are the other 2 games?
Yeah.
It's like Amanda Clear Creek.
Well,
something
so
like
I know
Amanda
they're
Clear
going to play
Creek, Vinton
Waverly.
County and Waverly.
Yeah. So
that. See,
actually,
I think Waverly's a more returning team.
Yeah.
So I think 7 is the number.
yeah, 7's the number because that's them losing 1 in conference play.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, and which is
I think
you're probably putting that on.
Now,
Peyton
and
Valley.
that could also be them getting 8 because again, Vinton County's a very young team. It's going to be week 1. We're not going to know exactly how well they're going to be tested. I know. Coach Games out there is going to be putting them through hell. No, so they got a freshman that was looking real good and a sophomore.
2 quarterbacks that are kind of coming
Yeah.
in. They're going to be playing their first game. You know what I mean? So it's going to be.
Well, so I'm pretty sure the sophomore got a little bit of reps last year. This is coming from Marcus,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like I think he got a little. I think he got a little bit of playing time in the playoff game. So that's good news.
David Long had it. It's going to be straight like the
Yeah.
exact same team meeting each other.
Which crazy was kind of like that last year.
Yeah.
Well,
feel
it was
like
actually
it's gonna
polar
be like the
opposites.
JV
It
teams
was a
being-
heavy run team and a heavy. Well, was Union more a heavy pass team, or
Man, I
they're
feel like
pretty
Unioto-
well balanced?
I was going to say, I feel like Unioto was the most well-balanced team in the league last year.
Yeah,
because,
I think they
because-
comparatively speaking, they passed out the ass compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah, but I feel like
The
they
games I
passed
went
out the
to-
ass compared to the other teams, but they also ran it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was almost drive for drive. They picked what they were going to try and do.
That's the truth.
I
one
feel
drive-
that was kind of like Vinton County's game. Was they were pretty well balanced, but that defense just helped them smother teams.
And that's the thing too.
They had like a situational offense. You know, you get a pick and your specific spot. And that's what having a great coach is. So they're lucky to have somebody coming in. That's good too.
I think the biggest thing that Unioto has to make sure they have right this year is their defense to make sure that they do what they did last year.
They're going to need some linebackers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really want to know. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm not saying that they don't have some prodigies in the wake. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But right now, it's in this league when you're going to be playing Paint Valley, and you look at this Zane Trace team. It's like that. I wouldn't want to face them right now. Like they have a lot of guys returning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Gunnar didn't start a whole season, but that's still more reps than David Long got.
Well, let's go ahead and pivot to Zane Trace. They started last year 0-2 against lose to Logan Elm 39-23, lose to Waverly 42-28, and then they squeak by North Union. Go into conference play and just go to work. They beat Adena. They pretty much put the league title favorites Piketon done for the year because after that they just didn't recover.
They were. I would say Piketon. They were always a dark horse for us.
Yeah, but pretty much put their league title hopes away that year or that game because they just went straight down after that. Beat Huntington, beat Westfall, lose to Unioto 27-14. It was probably one of Unioto's closer games of the year. Bounce back and beat Southeastern Paint Valley going into the playoffs. We know how that Purcell Marion game ended. Looking like Gunnar the Stunner.
That was crazy. That game was
That was-
nuts.
That was the second craziest high school football game I've ever seen in my life. Number one was Definitely. Pate Valley gets a touchdown down 1 against Newark Catholic the year after I graduate. Goes for 2 to win it.
Doesn't
and
get it.
They won it.
Oh, they did?
But it was like a Bush push situation. Like, oh, he's not getting it. Holy shit, he fucking got it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so they have Gunnar the Stunner. If you don't know who we're talking about with him, Gunnar McCullough. He's coming back. Silas Stewart and Bryce Johnson are going to be in that backfield. I'm really curious. To see
Yeah,
how
I saw a
that's gonna
picture
go.
of Silas Stewart recently, and I'm pretty sure he looked like he was like he was bodybuilder posing. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh Jesus Christ, I don't remember high schoolers looking like that.
Yeah.
Like,
If you got Aiden Dunn on the outside, they got a couple other wide receivers on the outside, but they're going to be newer this year, so I don't really know exactly how it's going to go.
They have a problem that Paint Valley is going to run into next year, except Paint Valley is not. So last year, Zane Trace, they graduated their quarterback and their running back. Next year, Paint Valley's graduated quarterback, running back, and wide receiver.
Yeah.
Luckily, they still have their wide receiver being Aiden Dunn, but I'm hoping the Gunner the Stunner gets it done because we saw him get it done last year.
He's just got so many reps under his belt. It's like it's just not like he got to come in and like props to his mentality. Because it's like he came in, didn't miss a beat, was willing to make the throws. That's what was nuts. Is like I feel like they didn't change the playbook when he came in.
And he was, like you said, willing to make throws, ballsy, didn't care.
And so, like, if you come in with that attitude, I think that carries over because you got the opportunity to kind of freelance without any kind of repercussions. You know what I mean? It's like you come in and be bad. You're the backup. I never played before.
I think they're an 8-win ball club. That's what they got last year. They had 8 wins. Now that's including the playoffs, so they went 7-3
do you
throughout
know
the
Yeah,
year.
so they're 7-win. So that's much
Are they
like
playing
you
Waverly
knew.
again?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they open up again with Logan Elm. That's like their Vinton County Unioda is Logan Elm and Zane Trace. I'm pretty sure they got Waverly again. Logan Elm's going to be really good this year. They went 9-2 last year. They're returning a lot of people. I don't think that they win that. Although it is
Did they
at
have
home.
a coach switch?
Logan Elm.
No, Zane Trace.
Oh no, still same coach. Waverly, man, Waverly's good. So I don't know. I don't know if I can see them beating Waverly.
Yeah, if we're talking regular season wins, I'm giving them. I'll give them 6 comfortably.
Yeah.
But it's just where
That's- I
they're
think I'll slap
working
7.
too
I'll
many
give
pieces.
I'll
in
give
there.
them 7. I'll give them 7 because I think they go 1 and 2 before conference play. Oh,
I think they kinda change
I
it.
think I'm looking at the 6. I think they got 6 because I think
I'm on the opposite end of this. I think they got a.
You think they got 8?
But who else? When you're talking about like Unioda versus St. Trace, like I no longer think about. I don't look at Unioda with an advantage in that matchup anymore.
Well, no, like that's the thing. If so, Zane Trace, they could be 6. It's either 6 wins or 7. If they're getting 7, that's going to put Unioda. I feel like that's going to take one of their wins away and put them at 6. So that's really just. I think that they have the potential to win 7.
And literally every single year, take a coin, flip it for that Union.
Yeah. So honestly, I'll put Unioda at 6. I'll just put them both at 6, just
Put 'em both at
because
6.
you never know who's going to win that matchup, and I feel like they're both equally. I wouldn't say
I think they
they're
have a faster
reloading
start
about the
this
same
year.
amount.
See, I
don't think they come out 1 and 2.
You don't think they come out 1 and 2? You think they come out at least 2 and 1?
2 and 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because Waverly is losing a lot there.
No,
Dude, I got a feeling they lost Spencer Bowers or Bowens. He was an absolute monster. Like you talk about the game like against Unioda and stuff like that. Like there's reasons why they had such a tough time, and they lose him, which is a big deal. But man, they play hard. I like the way they play. I just really do. And in a league where there's not a bunch of like predetermined, really good teams, just playing hard football, I think is going to pay off for them.
Now, real quick, can we talk? I want to instead of talking about the team that is next on the list, can we talk about a team that I personally think is going to be the dark horse for this year, much like we thought Piketon was? It's Westfall.
Yeah.
I think Westfall is going to be a dark horse team for this year.
Joey Wright is why I'm loving Westfall so much.
And Tower.
I was going to say, Tyler, he's coming back from a big year. Last year, Tyler had 36 catches, 703 yards, and 4 touchdowns, which
I don't math so good. That's a crazy.
Joey Wright had 996 yards with 9 touchdowns and 270 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. And, we don't know who exactly is going to be the quarterback out there at Westfall, but I do think that their scheme is going to be a lot like it was last year. And they ended the year hot last year. So, first off, I mean, you're putting up 60, 50, 50. You're going to be having a good offense. But you end the year last year basically on a 3-game win streak, going into the playoffs. Lose to a hard Valley View team. And the way you go into the playoffs is you basically had 2 weeks of the playoffs because their last game of the season was against Piketon winner go home.
Now,
Loser goes home.
for the league, it was much of a case of like we kind of saw it coming, a race for fourth place, which would have been that dark horse spot. And did they not finish right there at that fourth spot? Because I think they beat. I'd give it to them over Piketon because they beat Piketon pretty handily, if I do remember.
I will double check. So they did finish fourth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
They beat Piketon in one of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
We thought the ref quit. We thought the ref said, "I'm done. I'm out." But we can sit here. We can kind of speculate, see what they're going to do, or we can talk to a man that is leading the charge for the Westfall Mustangs. I will say, we're talking about handsome coaches. This has to be top of the list. One of our favorite coaches, the man, the myth, the legend, Logan Staff.
Hey, I'm super glad that I decided to put that one
How you
right there.
doing,
I had
guys?
no idea.
Logan, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, we can't hear you. So is that us? Is that him? Do. 1 second, Logan. Sorry.
I don't think
You guys
I
hear
can
me?
hear them either. So is it me or like that side?
Well, technical difficulties. We will be.
I think it has to do with the Seahawks poster or the Seahawks flag.
Yeah,
on
No,
there.
I almost wore a corduroy Seahawks hat today. It's like one of my favorite hats on the planet. I was
The
wearing it.
Seahawks fans normally make it a hard place for people to
Yeah,
hear.
it's that 12th man.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, yeah.
All right, hey, Logan, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
We cannot hear him
can't
still.
hear him. Oh, no. Give us 1 second. Look, should I try to give him another link? See if that works. You can hear him?
You want to break it real fast and then we'll just get it figured out and come back in like 2 minutes? He can stay on. Huh?
Yeah.
What are we breaking?
Kit Kat bar? They do. Could it be the TV maybe? Where's the remote? Do you see it over there?
Can you hear me
I
now?
do not.
This is such great podcast. Oh, hey. Said something there. Up. All right. Did Logan leave? Maybe he's
No, he's still here.
still here.
You guys hear me?
All right, Logan. Say something real quick. We're gonna see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Huh. Let me grab the TV remote.
I don't think so. 'Cause I'm just using that as a second monitor. 'Cause I can hear it. I don't know why.
Logan, I'm gonna send you another link, and then go through that one. I'm gonna see if that might be the problem.
Great interview coming.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a #1 interview.
Best ever.
Sid, can you put up a different image? We'll be right back after this break. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear us, Logan?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We cannot.
Wait, can we hear him on that? Because if so, we can just, it'll be a little delayed. A 40-second delay? Oh, that's a really long delay.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me, Logan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I just heard him. Is that through your computer? Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, just turn that computer up, and that's how we're going to do this today. Sounds good? All right. Hey, Logan, we're going to figure this out. It's going to be awesome. It's still going to be a great interview.
Sounds good, man.
All right. We good? Are we live? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Logan Stab! An introduction that needed a lot better than we did there. But, hey, thank you, Sid the Squid. Getting everything situated here. Logan, how are we feeling on this fine college football is officially back Tuesday?
Hey, man, I wish I could play it. I haven't updated the Xbox in a while.
That's what we've been saying, man. We've been literally waiting for 11 years for this day. We're glad that's
I
here.
know.
I don't know if you got to see the State of the Union address that Adam got to give us, but it was maybe tear up just a little bit. But let's get to your football team here. We know that there's going to be big questions surrounding your guys' quarterback play this year. I know I kind of talked to you about that a little bit in the past. Who do we look like we're having duke it out for that quarterback battle?
Right now we got Quinn Eberly and AJ Poddix. Quinn will be a junior next year. AJ will be a sophomore. Both of them have played quarterback. AJ's played quarterback in middle school, and as a freshman last year for our JV team. Quinn played a little bit of quarterback, got hurt last year on a weird accident with his arm. So we had to try to utilize him a little bit at wide receiver. But one of those two will end up being our quarterback. We just got to find an identity and what we want to do, and when we do that, we'll know who it is.
It's not like you're just filling any quarterback position. I mean, you're filling. I wouldn't even put him as the number 2 quarterback last year. I think it was a 1A, 1B type situation. I mean, you're trying to replace 2,500 passing yards. How do you do that as a coach? What's your approach to being like, I can't look at these kids like they're a Bryce Wicklet. I got to look at them as their own. That has to be a hard challenge as a head coach to make.
Yeah, sure. Bryce, over the 2 years that I was with him, we ended up throwing for like 4,800 yards or something crazy, or I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head, but
freaking nature.
With these two, I mean, it's just a different style of quarterback, and that's something that has taken maybe a couple days to get used to. But once after the spring and the two of them were going through some workouts with me and trying to figure that stuff out, it's going to be a transition. They're both extremely smart kids. They're both extremely athletic kids. So in that realm of things, I don't think it'll be too much of a transition. Probably not one that a lot of people are thinking there's going to be, because you got to think those two were in the same quarterback room as Bryce the last few years.
Yeah.
So that's definitely been a benefit. But losing Bryce hurts. I'm not going to lie to you.
we were kind of talking. It could be kind of like the Jordan Love under Aaron Rodgers, the Aaron Rodgers under Brett Favre. I mean, like you said, they're in the same quarterback room, so they're learning a lot from the guy.
Yeah, and the good news is those two have played a lot of scout team quarterback against our first team defense last couple of years. So, that's definitely been able to get them up to speed. And obviously, they're doing different things with the teams that we play in our conference, but for the most part, they're learning how to run a huddle. They're learning how to direct the scout team and lead that group of guys. And now really a lot of those scout team guys have just moved up with the ability from some of the graduates we've had. So it's kind of been a good transition the last few days. So we're excited about it.
That's I've honestly never really thought about that. Like, you're literally playing with the scout team, and the scout team's just like, all right, we're just the starters now. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Now, having a new quarterback's tough, but whenever they have people like Joey Wright and Jaden Tyler to lean on, that's got to be a little bit more comforting. They've been high on our radar, especially going into this fantasy draft, about the numbers that they put up last year and the leadership that they've shown. What have you seen out of this year's senior class and maybe the juniors to kind of help bridge that gap between losing our Bryce last year and saying, hey, you guys finished 4th in the league last year, and Adam, calling you guys a dark horse. I think it's fair to say that you guys do deserve to have your name up there in the league championship talks.
100%.
Yeah, no, when you look back to last year, we did finish 4th. We threw 4 interceptions against Paint Valley. We threw 4 interceptions against Unioda. They caught one at halftime, So, I mean, that could have easily been a little bit different, I think, last year of where we could have fell on that. Because Andres took it to us, so I don't think there was anything we could have done there. But, having guys like Jaden that have played for since he was a freshman, Joey Wright's played since he was a freshman. We have a few guys that have played since they were freshmen. I'd say probably 4 of the 5 seniors have played a lot of football, and then the senior that I think can play a lot of football this year will be a huge addition to that. So those guys have really helped me out in the weight room, because weight room's a culture, right? So we're trying to get all 50 guys into the weight room at 6 a.m. throughout the spring, and we're showing up with 43, 44, 45 guys every single day.
Damn.
That's definitely a compliment to our senior class. Waking up at 6 a.m. isn't easy, but in order to do
trust
it,
me, I know. I was definitely the guy. I was the lineman that was either skipping weight room or lifting with the wide receivers that were 100 pounds less than me. I was not a weight room guy. I will not lie about it.
Yeah, so that's a huge credit to those seniors that we have, is to getting everybody involved and getting everybody in the weight room, and we've grown a lot as a team throughout that process, having that many guys in the weight room.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that piece of it as well.
I'll never forget Brian Cooper coming up to me. He goes, "You're never in the weight room. Like, what do you do to get strong?" I was like, "I just go out there and think of everybody I hate." He just get that Shrek strength, man.
Superpower.
He's like,
Bobby Boucher.
he's like, that doesn't work all the time. I'm like, yeah, that's when we lose. I don't know if you figured it out. Like, we're not undefeated, pal. Coach, I know Tony had a couple questions here for you.
I guess mine's more talking on the culture. You've had a couple years now, and from what I've seen, you came in. I saw a quote that said, you want to work on, care for your community, care for the team, different things like that. You just spoke on the losses that you had early on in the season. And you spoke on that after, and you were like, look, I don't know what I need to do right now, but I want to talk to my guys. I want to tell them that I care about them and different things like that. And then you rattle off 4 or 5 right afterwards.
Yep.
You might not have the continuity of players, but do you feel like you're finally able to establish, your key values and things like that on this team? Because it clearly showed in the second half of the season last year. Because I watched that interview with Litter Media, shout out to them, but man, like, you were so passionate talking about I think it was after the Paint Valley loss.
You put up 56 in 2 of your last 3 games.
And, dude,
and the other one
like,
was 41.
I'm telling you, you got to watch this interview because it's passion. He's literally sitting there, is it me? Is it this? You really sat there and was like, I'm going to go to the drawing board. But then you saw these kids come out and play some of the best football they played all season. Do you feel like that's going to carry over to this season? Not necessarily you got the same players, but because you have the same values and you showed these kids you care.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. After that game against Paint Valley, right, we had a lot of things go wrong for us. And I think we could have very easily been, neck and neck with them in the fourth quarter, but, it ended up being a 14 or whatever point loss. And then once I think we all finally got together and was like, hey, we're either going to make the playoffs or we're not. If we lose another one, we're out. So let's kind of figure this whole thing out. And we did. We met for a little while on Saturday, probably the longest Saturday film we've ever had. And I don't even know how much of film we watched. We were more of just digging into some problems and things that we needed to get fixed. And as we moved on to the year, you could kind of see some of those problems fade away. And guys were playing for each other more. And it didn't matter who was going to catch 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, rush for 200 yards. I think that started to fade away. The later in the season we got. So and that obviously translated into some wins. So. The culture piece, I think, is a big part of our program. We do a culture talk every day. And if we're not doing a culture talk, we're doing something that's based off that, just to kind of keep our core values at bay, and kids constantly reminding them about it, that this is what we have to do to win. And, we have the blueprint. We just got to, be successful sometimes in some of those pieces.
And that kind of goes back to what you're saying about your senior class here. You say – about like halfway through the season, after that Paint Valley loss, you kind of come together and they start buying in. Because, you guys completely flipped the switch. You went from 2-3 to finishing 4-1 on the season. I mean, that was insane. Do you kind of feel like now that, like, or not feel like, but you kind of see, last year after everybody flipped the switch and bought in. Now going into this year, like you said, you can lean on those seniors. They know what it's like. They know what it takes to get to the level that they want to win. And that has to be the best feeling as a coach,
He said, in that interview, and I don't mean to keep bringing it up. I just watched it and was like, holy crap, I did not expect to see like this much passion, this much feel out of my own heart.
Yeah.
And he just, obviously you went to Westfall, didn't you?
No, I graduated from West Jeff, so.
Oh,
he was a stud player himself.
Yeah, especially at West Jeff. That's saying something. I remember we talked about that last time you were on here.
But that being said, you kind of told the guys, like, how much do you how do you want to be remembered? How, like, he kind of said, like, I got to talk to these guys and see, like, this is how the season's going right now. How do you want it to end? And it was just so sick to see the opposite. And then we were there for Piketon, and you talk about cleaning up, some errors. We watched, a very wet game where, Bryce is taking
Hold on, I got to
drops.
stop you here. We thought a ref quit in the middle of your game. We have not talked to you since this. What happened?
Yeah.
Because we're up there watching the game. The refs get together, and then the fans are just absolutely letting them have it. And then we just see one ref walk off, come back on a gator with the rule book up in the air and saying, "Don't worry, I have the Holy Grail." So please explain to us what the hell happened during that whole sequence of events. So
the onside kick happened, right? And we onside kicked a few times last year, if you didn't know. And what happened is the ball had bounced, and whether or not the Piketon player caught it, touched it, whatever, he got hit as soon as that happened. We recovered it, and there was a flag. The ref came over to explain the flag, and I just asked him like a question. Then he went over to Piketon's coach, asked him a question, trying to say the easy version of this. And then none of the refs knew exactly what to call at that point. So I just said, hey, if we're going to do this, it's a close game. Like, both of our seasons are riding on this game. Can we just get the rule book and just see what's going on?
Yeah.
Knowing that most official crews like have a rule book right underneath the field goal post. It should just be
Right there off the field.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'll go get it. And he just ended up going all the way out.
Like,
And then
I don't claim to be a good
still,
announcer, but man, like sitting there watching that happen, we're literally like, because we hear the fans, we're sitting right on top of them, and like what they are saying, we're thinking it's totally because of that, because it was ruthless.
Yeah.
I also have to say, your announcer, best one in the
Best
SVC.
announcer, not in the SVC, not in Southern Ohio, like of all time.
Period.
The best
sarcasm
announcer.
impeccable. Man, dude, that
Can you
was
imagine
such
if
a
the
great
refs
moment.
like get together and be like, all right, man, so just like I don't know shit about what just
Meanwhile,
happened.
the announcers up there just like seems like they don't know what's happening.
Yeah, he's like, I can hear the rest from up here. They don't know what's going on. Like that was
Good stuff.
oh, that was amazing.
it was a very great call. Like, it
Yeah.
could have went either way. And when they came out, like, obviously I knew if we got the ball, we were going to win the game.
Yeah,
So I really felt strongly we were going to score again, and that would have been it.
nail in the coffin.
And that was the same play. If you remember, you guys called Bryce Wickline the washing machine.
Yeah.
like two plays
Okay.
after.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't know if he'll remember that or not.
Oh yeah,
was
we play that clip a few times. It's funny. But I right now, I think if you asked 100 officials, 50 of them would say this, and the other 50 would say that, and we just got lucky that game, and it worked out for us.
For what we saw, I think you got it right.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of feel like it's a bang-bang play. I feel like you guys were going for the onside. They knew what was happening, too. So when it's bang-bang, I feel like, it kind of goes to the team that was trying to do that.
Now, Coach, we want to ask you. You
Yeah,
know,
I think they got it right here.
You've gone through the off season and the ups and downs of regular seasons here for a couple of years now. You know, what has it been to you to be a coach? Not obviously, how the wins and losses, but like impacting your life. I mean, I've only coached like JV to like third grade teams, and just getting to be around those kids every single day, it kind of changes your life. You always have that one kid that always sticks out to you. How has it really? Because it looks like starting a family now yourself. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, got the off-season picks and everything. So how has it kind of helped you, be a coach to being a man, I guess?
Yeah. I guess we'll go back a little bit. When I graduated from Otterbein, I took a job at Hilliard, and I really wanted to start coaching football. So I reached out to Sean Bisher at West Jeff, and obviously he was a huge mentor of mine growing up. And if it wasn't for him, I'm not even sure I'd play football. But so anyways, I reached out to him. We got lucky enough to get on the staff. I was a JV coach there for a couple years, and learning from those guys, I think, was the staple and what set me up to, I think, be successful in anything I do, really. Because I learned from them how to be a great coach. I learned from them how to be a good husband. And I learned from them how to be a great dad. And then how to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think I've been able to carry on, at Westfall. And I just can only hope some of the players that, I've had I've had the same impact on them that Sean had on me. And then some of those coaches that I coached with, we're still really good friends. We hang out all the time. I think I talk to 3 or 4 of them every single day. So, having that ability to be, a great dad, a great husband, and a great coach, and trying to figure out how to morph all that together to really be there for the kids too, right? Because, I'm getting into the point of my life now, in the fall, that I'm going to see, other people's kids more than my own.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to swallow a little bit because, as an assistant with no family, you don't really think about that. You just think, hey, I'm just with these kids a lot, and we're all having a good time, and we're all learning about each other, and hopefully I can make an impact on their life. And then you start realizing, oh my gosh, I'm with these guys more than I'm with my son. And then now my son actually came to practice the other day, and a few kids were holding him, and he was walking around, and it was crazy. So
I heard your son threw for 400 yards the other day at practice. Can you confirm that, yes or no?
You said what?
I heard your son threw for 400 yards in practice the other day. Can you confirm that? Yes or no?
I'm not gonna disclose that information. I'm gonna wait for a few years.
Yes.
You'll be attending Westfall.
He's like, hey, listen,
Yeah,
we're
wait for
going to
a
keep
few
the
years.
tampering down a little bit.
How old is he?
He is 10 months. He's about to be 11 months here in
Dude,
in a week or so.
I'll tell you this right now, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to get harder. Dude, like, even leaving today, and I'm looking at my son, and I'm like, he's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm doing a sports podcast. And he says, sports podcast? I'm like, I'm staying. I feel like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just
Yeah.
real hard because, dude, when they develop a personality and stuff, they just become so cool, and it's real hard to kind of.
I'm sorry. I really thought
step
Tony
away
was about to come like, hey, it's going to be better.
No, watch. In like 3 years, mine's. I have one that's 3 months and then one that's 3 years. In a couple years, he'll be saying like it'll be so sweet to see him at practice and stuff, man. Like it's really awesome to see him grow up. So it's hard now, but wait till they can walk and be your number one fan.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things as a coach when Cooper, his name, so my son's name's Cooper, when he's around to watch the guys on my team gravitate, you know, and kind of build relationships with them. And obviously Cooper doesn't know who any of these people are, but eventually I think when Cooper's walking around practice one day, I would like to think that maybe AJ Poddix, when he's a senior, my son will be 2 walking around practice, might be in the back hip of AJ, you know what I mean? Or Quinn, or any of these kids really. But you know, that's something that I think I'm really looking forward to. I thought it was real special to have him at practice the other day, and I'm looking forward to a couple more of those. But
It's like the circle
you know,
of
that's
life
something
almost.
I think is bringing that family aspect into it is real cool.
That's all, and I feel like that's where all best teams have, man. Like, you're not just a team, like you're a
Do
family.
you ever whisper to him, "I'm 2-time first team"?
It's like,
all
hey, just so you know, you're
ONC.
living up to a lot of hype for your
Just to
dad,
let
so
you
it's okay
know.
if you don't do it. You know.
By then, Bryce
my
Whitline
wife
will be a little
does
bit
good
older.
job
We can
telling
do like
me.
an OC or something like that. We can just make a full circle.
All right, hey,
Bro.
Coach, we got some deep dive journalism questions. We gotta ask you before you get out of here. This is where the hard questions come.
I got a real hard question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you said you haven't updated the Xbox in a while, so you haven't got a whole lot. You probably won't get a whole lot of opportunity to play this college football. Now, if you did have the opportunity to play it, are you a rebuild a 1-star program, or are you kind of maybe take over your favorite school and just win them back to back national titles?
I tried to take Notre Dame to the national championship game and they lost, so it's pretty realistic. The game is.
Yeah, I heard you say you went 15-1 and lost. I would probably just play with Ohio State for a little bit, and then I'd probably choose some of my friends' favorite teams and play with them, and
James
and then
Madison's
eventually
really good.
Yeah, James Madison.
James Madison. Yeah. So actually, one of my college coaches at Otterbein is coaching there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, and it's a D1
Yeah,
single A
so-
program now, man.
They're in the Sun Belt.
I was down there. I absolutely am very pleased with what's going on there. Because even when I was down there, they kind of talked about.
Tony loves when we talk about his dogs.
But either way, yeah, I apologize.
Hey, their coach is awesome. Their coach is awesome. Well, their old coach.
Dude, the program down there is amazing. The school's amazing. The fan base is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's just a sporadic amount of like different states and different things. It's a great school.
I heard it's better than Athens in some ways.
It's third on Playboy's Hottest Girls on Campus. So that's the only difference that I saw when I was selecting schools.
All right, Coach, we got a tough one here for you. We're going to do start, bench, cut. I know you know how it works. We're going to go pizza, burgers, tacos. Start, bench, cut.
Start pizza. Yeah, I'm going to start pizza, and I might even just bench the other 2.
Let's go!
He said, just give me the
I think that might be my personal favorite answer. Yeah.
He's talking about heart right there. All right, we got another start, bench, cut for you. We got waffles, French toast, pancakes.
We'll start waffles. We'll throw French toast on the bench, and we're going to cut pancakes.
That is mine!
This is a solid one.
Finally, somebody said mine. Thank God. I've been over here like, man, I'm a lone wolf in this lineup. Damn it. All right. Now, this is the new one we got. Let's say that you went to court, somebody's suing you for being too handsome and winning too many football games, and you have to pick two.
Guilty.
You have to pick two actors to represent you in court. Who would it be?
Oh, my. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for sure, and probably Kevin Hart.
Intimidation.
I was going to say intimidation
I don't
factor.
know.
If I saw The Rock as my defender, I'd be like,
Is
I'm
he going to
guilty.
talk? Because I'll just quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Liam Neeson thrown in there too. He's a scary
Oh man, could you
See, he's gonna
imagine?
change my list because I'm sitting there thinking like, fast talking people. I need some intimidation.
Could you
in there,
imagine
too.
walking in to your courtroom and you look over and your lawyers that are going against you are The Rock and Liam Neeson? That would be.
You're on the stand. He picks up the phone. I will find you.
Yeah.
Who's he talking to?
I'm right here. You don't have to look for me. All right. One more before you get out of here. Now, again, thank you for your time. We know that, these questions are hard. We don't like to put you on the spot. Could ruin your reputation, but it's okay. You said that you love pizza. What is, your absolute favorite pizza ever to get?
No wife included either because she'll go ahead and add something to hers or make you take something off. It's just a personal problem.
Yeah, no, I'm probably pretty plain. I'm just a cheese and sausage guy.
Cheese and sausage,
but-
okay.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, so my wife and I, a couple years ago, we did this thing. So every single Thursday, I had one of the players over from West Jeff when I was coaching there.
Yeah.
Actually, the coach's son, Tyler. He came over every Thursday for like 4 years, and we tried a different pizza place in the area. So we got the same thing. So we got pepperoni pizza, we got a sub, we got garlic bread, and we got 10 hot wings from every single place every Thursday.
Please invite me next time. That sounds like the best night ever.
Oh, great.
I think what people don't understand, to get the best sub, go to a pizza place sometimes. You got places like Mr. Sub, yeah. But if you go to like Giovanni's.
You want me to explain this to you?
Yeah, go ahead.
One, they pick the proper bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about the bread.
It always is. And then also, I don't want a toaster. Subway gives me a toaster. They're putting that sucker right in the oven with it. It's a different type of char. It's a different type of love. But please go on. Sorry.
Amen. No, that's right.
He's like, hey, preach, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, we got any 7-on-7s or scrimmages coming up?
Yeah, so we had a 7-on-7 a week, maybe 2 weeks ago against Gaia Academy, Grove City Christian, and Springfield Northwestern. We're going to West Jeff this Friday and competing in their annual 7-on-7, and then we have one at home next Saturday. So we're still doing our fair share of throwing the ball, fellas.
He's like, hey, don't worry. Hey, don't matter who's back there. We are slinging that thing.
Did you have a specific pie you found
don't worry.
when
We're
you
handing the ball
traveled
to
around
Joey
to these places? When you got all these different places with the players and things like that, did you find a specific spot? Were you guys doing a specific thing? Did you find a sub that you like? Well, what are the results?
So there's a place called Tammy's Pizza. I don't know if you guys have ever had it. It's kind of down here a little bit.
I will not.
It's in Grove City. If you haven't had it, it's worth the
Oh,
drive.
I think my sisters had that.
That's good. We've had Emilio's Pizza down here, just off Georgesville Road. That's pretty good. Larry's Pizza just right in here in town is pretty good, but we didn't try that back, when I was at West Jeff.
He's like, we didn't have to try. We knew it was good.
Yeah, I think I told you this last time. If you've never had Flyers Pizza, you got to go try it.
Yeah, we promise we're going to make our way there because one thing I don't do is turn down food. So, Coach, thank you for coming on. We do want to go ahead. I know I texted you, but go ahead and invite you, Joey and Jaden. It looks like they are going high on some fantasy draft boards here. So
Yeah, mock drafts got them going pretty early.
yeah, so we would like to invite you and them and their parents out on August 8th, Creekside occasion to our fantasy football draft. Should be a lot of fun. We'd love to have you guys out there.
Yeah, awesome. I'll let them both know. Make sure that we get that and out. So.
Hell yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, making a run for the most handsome coach of all time and pizza connoisseur.
Have you seen him when he played for Waterbach?
That's why I said it.
Google his ass,
And
bud.
pizza connoisseur, Logan Stepp.
Thanks,
Let's go on, Coach. All right, hey, Sid the Squid! Sid the Squid! Sid the Squid!
How do we know it wasn't her fault sabotaging us in the first place so that way we'd look like we
That's even better.
Bro,
That's
I'm making clips. I'm plugging stuff in. I'm like techie now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much a nerd.
Yeah. Tony went over there and was like, let's try this.
I was about to slap it and straight Fonz it.
Oh, yeah.
Clay did set it all up. So
Listen,
he said,
if you're leaving me alone with technology, set it up. It ain't going to be right.
Here's
Let me
what
tell
I'll
you
say.
that.
now, do we text our other guests and possibly just be like, hey, you sure you want to come on in this one and maybe not next one?
Oh, no, we got to have Colby.
Oh,
on.
yeah, send
Go
it.
ahead,
I just didn't know if it was.
You got to pop one ear off.
Yeah, that's
You can
where
hear way better.
the problem is. Wait, can you turn these around? Oh.
No, you can't. Oh, wait, you can. It goes lower.
Never mind. There ain't no more
So
problem.
here's the thing. One, you really should go. Like, I stumbled on it. I watched that Little Media interview. like, I didn't want to really say it to him because, you know, you're having the interview, but, like, dude, watch it and see how much passion is in him.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting there being like, we had this game. I'm pissed we lost. He's sitting there looking for answers because he was asked, like, how are you going to pretty much get a solution? And to hear him kind of, like, just go through a couple things, he'd be like, we need to do this. But I also need to be better.
Yeah.
But we need to do this. But it could be me too. Like you could see him thinking straight in front of your eyes, and to see him go into that locker room, just take the time with the dudes, and then come out and have a wonderful end of the season. It's like, dude, he did it.
Dude, they really did go on a tear at the end there, too.
And it was after that interview, literally right after that interview, and I'm like, that's just so sick to me. Especially because he kind of said, I'm going to make the changes, and I'll do what it takes, and then did.
Yeah.
Like,
Real quick to pivot, what is this Julian Baker comments?
Yeah, so you want to talk about Julian Baker from Miami Trace, right?
okay. So
We'll do that real quick because we're at literally halfway through the SVC. Take a little break because we have been talking about this Julian kid. Between us, kind of went to, a little late in some mock drafts that we saw.
God, I want to say something about the mock drafts. But all that being said, I think I just want to give this guy his roses. You know, I kind of started looking him up, and I'm like, you know, we had him in the fantasy league last year. You know, did
Oh,
did
so
well
like you
for
mean
it.
like comments that you had about
Yeah.
it?
I'm going to give
The way you put it in, I thought
I'm gonna
he
give
maybe
you my fantasy football breakdown of
him?
Mr. Baker.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
One, he's got 5 D1 offers, so you don't have to take my word for it. But I'll still say you heard it here first.
Yeah, definitely heard it.
You
heard on the Ride the Wave show for the first time ever.
NC State and Purdue didn't
Yeah.
hear it until I just said it. They just did a prelude
Yeah.
offer. All that being said, it's going to be a big year from him. I think he's got great speed and agility. He gets through his cuts really, really well. He's got super smooth hands. It's just a recipe for a perfect fantasy player / the stats that he wants to have. I mean, what I like most is when he returned kicks last year, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking, like, his ability to read the field is what I like most, and his ability to read the field allowed him, like, when you watch him get tackled, you almost look at him, you know, I brought up Shady McCoy last week as well, but he was a similar one. He never took hard hits.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of going forward. They wrap his legs, they bring him down. It's the same thing. But I think a lot of those, as he builds muscle and builds talent, turn into missed tackles.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple 70-yard runs and receptions from him last year, and that's without even the touches that
He's a
gonna
great
have
dual
this year.
threat back, too, because they're going to third team out. Trey Robinette, you should definitely have him high on your fantasy boards, is going to be thrown to him a lot out of the backfield.
Key piece, too, he never stops working, dude.
No.
Like, honestly, I saw the tape. I'm not going to sit here, but it's like if I can find that much tape of you working out, it obviously he's got you know, some great people working with him, and they definitely put his stuff out there, but you got to have stuff to put out, and it's
Yeah.
never replaced. So
Yeah.
he's
It's
constantly
like
out
Great
there
for Dead.
working on his
Never
craft.
replace. Different show every
Exactly.
time.
I think that's really going to set him apart. And honestly, I hope they still let him get some of those kickoffs. Dude, with a little bit of muscle, like, I'm telling you, I think work ethic combined with skill, combined with, you know, growing up, only being a sophomore last year,
Yeah.
and already having those offers is just absolutely nuts.
Well, let's pivot to a team in the SVC that has a running back that they're definitely going to need to lean heavy on this year, and that's going to be Piketon. They came out last year 4-0, beat Goshen 28-22, which Goshen at 3-8 squeaked in the playoffs last year. I don't know how that was the thing. They blew out Oak Hill, blew out Valley, blew out Huntington. and
Really,
then
as bad as
ran
Oak Hill was, they didn't blow Oak Hill out. They beat them like what, like
34-0.
Yeah, that's it. And Oak Hill was they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad. Like
They
Wellston,
They were 0-8 bad.
yeah,
Their tight end was nice.
Wellston beat Oak Hill pretty handily, and Wellston got their shit worked by Vinton County like 1,000-0, maybe I think.
That's quantity of players.
First
though.
quarter.
I
Yeah,
feel like
maybe
that
maybe
guy's working with,
2,000
like, I don't know, 25 players total.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, because they had to
He's like,
cancel
when we
a couple
lack
of
in
games.
numbers, we make up in heart. I'm like, dude,
No, you don't.
I feel your pain, man.
Yeah.
Like, he had some good players, but I really like that quarterback. They had the one wide receiver, but that Singler kid at tight end was.
Because you almost wanted to put, Piketon, the best of the worst, right? But then they go and lose to Westfall, which I wouldn't say that Westfall is the best of the worst. So maybe you could still say that about Piketon. Because, I mean, between the teams that they beat, combined record, or the most wins out of any of those teams finished was 3. So whenever they're playing a team that was definitely lower
what
than
did
them, they
Piketon
beat
finish
on them.
as record-wise?
They finished at 6-4. After they started off 4-0, they lost 3 in a row
They're
to
only-
St. Trace
they're
Union
only,
to Paint Valley.
Their only like wins in conference were what, Adena and
Southeastern and Indiana, 1-9, 2.
What I like about him is again.
Oh, so Huntington beat them.
Oh, sorry, and Huntington, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. 1-9 as well.
Is Luke's coming back for a second year? You know, or I don't want to. He's not a sophomore, I don't think. But it's
His second year is like a
quarterback.
starter, I believe.
And it's like I feel like he's going to be a little more comfortable throwing. He had Brett McGuire last year, and I know losing him is big, but I also feel like taking.
Do you
that
think
next
that makes
step in
them?
row, no,
Well, I was
I
about
don't
to, I was
think
about to
it
ask. Do you think that makes them lean on the running game? But they have Mason Thacker. They have
Thacker, he
Yeah.
showed very,
I think Thacker
very
probably should have got
big
a few more
spurts.
touches
Yeah.
last year than he did.
He showed
But
big
I think they
flashes
pass more
of
now that he feels more
greatness.
comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, you get a first-year quarterback. That's why maybe you
And-
have him run a little bit too much and different things like that.
Wade Fout.
He was
Wade
another.
Fout's a good wide receiver.
He was another one. I felt like he did some great stuff on the defensive side of things, and I feel like because of what they graduated offensively, he's going to
Yeah.
get a little bit more offensive touches.
So I don't know.
And you can't talk about him without saying Buddy Wilson. We haven't said his name yet. Dude, like, we watched the kid. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
got something.
Well, he's just somebody that you just don't have to say anything about because you know they got him and you know he's going to do his thing. It'd be like,
My thing is, if you're going up against Piketon this year, are you just stacking the box and saying beat me through the air, and then once you beat me through the air, I'll adjust?
I think that might
No,
help.
I think-
might that play into Piketon's hand. Like, that's kind of what I mean about Luke coming back. I think he's going to be more ready. He's thrown with these dudes for 2 years now. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
He's
there's
number
gonna be
3
some more
fantasy
rapport.
quarterback out of the SVC
I
last year.
think really you just say, hey, beat me, like beat me. You guys didn't beat our scheme last year.
Yeah.
beat me
I think
this
they're
year.
probably
You know,
thinking about it and say, hey, you stack the box, we're going to have these plays. And
'Cause
I think they're another team that's going to have a lot to prove because we kind of all had them high in the league. I
To
feel
be
like
honest with you, so they lose to Zane Trace 35-24. They lose to Uniota 45-22, but that was close until, the fourth quarter. Uniota just kind of piled on and, kind of looked like Piketon laid down a little bit. Then they lost to Paint Valley 49-30, but that was, again, another one just like Uniota. It was close going to the fourth quarter. And then Westfall, hung 56 on them. So it really looks like if they can figure out the defensive side of the ball this year, if they can put the defensive side
One of
together.
your best defensive players.
Exactly.
Like, dude, that dude was a mess.
That's why I think 6-4. I think is a good place where you can put him again this year. I can see him going 7-3. I can see him going 7-3. I don't think that they're gonna finish top of the league. I don't think they finish higher than 4th again this year because they're 5th last year.
Piketon wins. 'Cause I don't think we ever gave Westfall their wins because somebody had a cool ass transition on complete accident to get us to talk
Westfall
about
also
Westfall.
went
into,
6-5.
Yeah,
but theirs is like complete opposite of Piketon.
Yeah,
Starting
I
off
think
slow and
I think
hot.
they're a 5 to 6 win team, and I think Piketon is a 4 to 5 win team.
4 to 5 win team.
It depends on how easy they schedule their out of conference.
So I think it's the same as last year.
Well,
So
I think they
got
they have the chance to go against 6 wins, then maybe.
6 Westfall, 5 Piketon.
5 Piketon. I'm gonna go 7 Westfall. I think that they go oh man, never mind. Hold on.
With how
you
you
got
got
to talk about it.
I'll
either,
go-
like,
you got to keep in
you gotta
mind with
include-
I'll
what-
go 6. I'll go
Yeah.
6 with Westfall just because. No, I'll go 7 because I still think they lose to Logan Elm, but
you
they
got to
lost
think.
last year to Uniota, Paint Valley, Zane Trace. I feel like they can flip one of those.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
then
like
also
they
you got to
flip
think
one
on the
See,
other
that's the way I
end.
feel about Zane Trace.
You got to keep in mind you gave those other teams 7 wins, so like. Pretty sure
Sure.
Westfall was one of those for sure.
Yeah.
That's how I'm kind of gauging it. So that's
so
why I
then
think
I'm
they're more
pro-
of
I'm
like
probably looking at 6.
they're a 5
Probably
or
looking
6.
at
They
6.
can definitely turn one of those, and that's
Yeah.
where the 6 comes in. But
I think
and
that-
I don't know if Piketon
I think
can.
this says something about the final record of the best team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same league as last year.
No.
At
It's
all.
not.
It's not the
It's
same
not.
league as 2 years ago.
A lot
even
more
from what I've
parity this
gathered.
year.
So it's like,
A lot more parity with Paint Valley still. I think call me Homer. I don't care. They got to be the favorite.
They have the least. They have the
I
least
don't
amount of
care.
parity.
I
Like,
don't care. Oh, What'd you
they got
say?
the least amount of parity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and the thing with Paint Valley is like
continuity,
is what you
dude.
just said.
Straight
It's
up.
like, yeah, you know what I'm going to do. Stop it.
yeah.
you
Yeah,
can't.
and then that's the thing. Not saying anything bad about Piketon. It's just they didn't beat the top teams in the league last year, so I don't think they're going to change how they're going to play them because
Right.
they're like
I don't know how much better you can get at defense either.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
that's
they
the
played
thing.
some good ball, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're, I can't.
Now let's pivot over.
It could
to,
be like a depth thing for Piketon, really, because
Yeah.
like it seems like they're good through their 3-quarter team. In the
Brett
fourth
McGuire
quarter,
was
they
a
just
great
don't.
corner as well.
And playing both sides
Yeah, I'm
kind of
not
has
too
that
worried
effect.
about him on the corner side though, because I think their best corner was Wade Fout.
Yeah.
I think he was their lockdown guy. They still have.
I know
him
he
this
was
year.
a real good fantasy option at wide receiver too, because of how well he was on the defensive side of
Because he
things.
was he almost. I think for the first 4 games, he had 1 interception a game. Like
at
average.
least
But are they
one.
going to
Yeah.
throw at him now?
Huh?
Are they going to throw at him now? I look at that. and
They
I'm
have
like,
to.
fine.
They unless you don't want to throw to your best wide
Yeah,
receiver.
that's something else. But then also like. Are you going to start the best wide receiver if you're playing against a Piketon? Because are they going to throw at him because of
maybe? Yeah. We'll go over to Adena. Last year they had McLean, Fairfield Christian Academy, and Amanda Clear Creek. That McLean game they will have first again. That is.
Yeah. Biggest thing with Adena, I feel like they have the least amount to lose because they are expected to do so bad.
Went 2-8 last year.
Yeah, so they kind of dropped the ball.
Yep.
Conference wise, what they do?
Conference wise, they beat Southeastern and Huntington.
Okay, so their 2 wins were in
conference play.
Arguably 2 of the weaker links last year. Not arguably, they were in fact.
They only lost to Piketon 41-44, and then ended the season with a win against Huntington 35-14.
And they were given. So they were giving Drexler. They're giving Nady D. They're giving him like a carry every other or every like
and
3 or 4
possessions. And this year they have no
yeah.
other running back to look at other than Nate Drexler.
Yeah. As much, I hate that he left. We keep talking about him leaving and stuff like
King
that.
Of the block.
If Lucas King and Drexler had been playing together last year, I think Lucas might have saw the. I don't know if it was anything personal or if it was just like a move to like better himself on a team that he thought maybe gave him a better chance at getting to the next level. Whatever the case was, I feel like Drexler not playing last year hurt them way more. Like I think they could have been a 4 to 5 win team last year. They could have definitely turned 2 to 3 of those games.
I heard the young Ward kid's really good too.
I wouldn't. Well, he's gone. He's
young.
Oh, the young Ward. I haven't heard anything about him yet. I did go watch their 7-on-7 the other day.
Was that Torelli Ward that was the older one that left?
Mm-hmm.
What's the younger one's name?
No idea.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure we have him in
but
our.
But if he plays like Torelli,
I heard he was good.
Yeah. I wouldn't watch the 7-on-7. It was Adena, Hillsborough, and Waverly the other day. Boy, Waverly's David Sparks, that Coach Crabtree was talking about. Holy shit.
I remember
he mossed
when we were talking about Waverly wide receivers, we couldn't remember. He was one of them. He was just a tight end. That's why we couldn't find him.
When I say moss catches, like I'm talking like, yep, it came down 2 feet.
Yeah.
For a touchdown.
Something I felt like people were sleeping on. I think he's going to be a hot, like a commodity come this draft. Maybe if he, because I don't know where he's landing on mock drafts, but if he doesn't make it to the draft, he's going to be one of the best like free agency pickups. Because last year he was a tight end and he still had great stats. Like I remember I had him on my team and was wondering why he wasn't quite producing like the other guys. And it's because he was a tight end. Dude's like 6'3", 6'4",
and they were throwing to him a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. It was like, who is this number 3 guy? I had to look him up, and I'm like, oh, that's Sparks that they're talking about. But pivoting back to the SVC, Adena, they finished 2-8 last year. I feel like it's just going to be a lot of the same. I feel like maybe they can flip that Piketon game. Just, their quarterback situation, man, it's going to be. Now, their defense, I'll give their secondary, because that's the only thing in defense you can really judge. And 7-on-7, their secondary was very good. They defended well because with the quarterback having all the time he has in the pocket, it was still kind of hard for them to make throws. I did notice that the little dinky throws, like the 5-yard drag or something like that, they had problems with that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, if it's a 7-on-7, are they as worried about that? So, you got to take what you can with the 7-on-7s. I thought they looked athletic.
Now, I will say this about 7-on-7s. I did see that Ironton just won one. It's called the Beast of the East that West Virginia puts on. I thought that was pretty neat that they won that.
Yeah, because those ones, they're going there, like you go there to win the 7-on-7. Adena, I think they got thrown in there like last minute. Joey Francis looked very good, very athletic. A lot of tough catches, not like kind of going over people, just there's 3 people there. You got to concentrate and really make sure that you're putting 2 hands on that ball. So I thought he did really good. Real quick here, we got Huntington. Their one win last year was against Southeastern. They honestly, I'm not going to sit here and talk a lot about them because I don't know. I believe in their coach.
I'll leave it up to this. I think that it's on them to not have an exact repeat of 1-9 season again.
And I think the coach is doing, putting stuff in the right place. That they have to play the Eastern Eagles week 2. That's going to be hard for them. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens there because you have Noah Potter.
They got a lot of young kids that could prove that they are the guy.
And then you have some for
Caden Curtis.
Caden Curtis out there.
Big boy playing in his 7-on-7s as well. I'm telling you, he was when I say heart last year when we were there. Like I know you and Yoda. I mean, shoot, they picked their prom night to
Yeah.
have Yoda out there. Played like an absolute dog. Like
Yeah.
literally was one of those people that I felt like we mentioned his number a couple times just because we were like, whoa, who's that? Who's that? I think he was on the fence about football, but he's coming back this year, and I saw him in the 7-on-7s, and for being as big as he is, he gets after it.
I think Hirsch could be a pretty good quarterback. He had a few varsity reps last year. I thought he did pretty good with. And then if we look at Southeastern here, Coach Blair had his first season last year going 1-9. They beat Madison Plains. They had a close game with Adina. Other than that, in the league, it wasn't too kind to him. And then it never is fun to have your last game of the season be against a team that
now with Southeastern, I feel like the difference with them as opposed
they
to
got
Huntington,
players though.
I feel like Southeastern they'll have much of the same season. 1-9, 1-9, right?
Yeah, that's what they finished 1-9.
They'll finish.
I think they can
1-9,
give it to
2-8. But I feel like it's good. The screws are going to be tightened. They're going to win. Or they're going to lose these games in a much closer fashion than they will. So, and it's just, it's no fault to their own. It's just, I think it's still like growing pains with the new
Coach Blair's
coach.
second year, so he's like what Steps doing. He's just trying to build that culture.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job at building that culture. He's finding the right guys. He's getting them in the right spots. It's just going to take time to get a winning mentality out there. I watched it at Vinton County for so long. It took, and again, I think he's doing the right things to get that winning mentality out there at Southeastern.
Yeah, and we can sit here and talk about the SVC all day, but it would be nothing without Mr. SVC himself, the man that really started the SVC Stats website, SVC Sports Zone, a man that taught me more about baseball than literally anybody taught me about almost anything, a man that steered my heart over 100 baseball wins, the one, the only, Shane Combs. Coach, how's it going?
Great. How you doing?
Oh, we're doing good here. Had a few technical difficulties earlier, but Sydney Newsom, Sid the Squid, is here to save the day. Another alumni here to save the day for you. Coach, we're just going to hop right into it here. We were kind of going over the bottom half of the SVC in football right before you came on. Southeastern Huntington and Southeastern Huntington and Adina. We'll start with those three schools for you first. What are your feelings? Have you heard anything with those teams and what they could be kind of looking like this year?
Yeah, I think when you look at the SVC football, it's probably important in every sport, but more so in football. It really matters to be old. When you can run 17 and 18-year-olds out there, that's a big advantage, especially if they're competing against younger 14, 15, 16-year-olds. And I think that's what you get at the bottom of the league is you just have some youth. I think you have some coaches who are doing it the right way. I think you have some programs that are building. But I think what you have there is probably some teams that may be still a year away, particularly with how good some of these top teams are and how old some of these top teams are. So certainly some nice freshmen, sophomore. I know you mentioned Huntington. I know they're very talented in those two particular classes. Southeastern has some really nice skill kids. Adina the same, but again, probably when you go up and down the roster, still probably quite a bit of youth there trying to compete with teams that are going to be junior, senior loaded for sure.
And I feel like I feel like Huntington and Adina do have some pieces, but I think when you look at Southeastern, it's kind of hard not to be a little excited to think that maybe they can. Go from 1-9 to maybe a 4-6 season, maybe even a 5-5, just because we look at the stats, we look at the tape, and it's not lying. You got Pfeiffer, Cutright, and Cheadle out there that are, they're producing. They're producing on the field. They're producing the stat lines. Just the one place that they're really not producing last year was the win column. I want to ask you about Southeastern specifically. What do you think that trio can really do for them this year?
Well, I think you guys talked about it just a second ago before I joined you, where you're talking about there's a big difference over the course of 4 quarters winning. But as I've seen this in coaching a lot of times what happens is you really get better. You start to put a better product on the field. You start to compete at a higher level. Maybe not always shows up in the win column, but those skill kids that you're referring to are certainly going to score some points on Friday night. They're going to put themselves in some second halves that are a little bit more competitive. Now, will that equal to more wins over the course of 4 quarters? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Depends probably again how their strength and their conditioning and some of their age starts to show up on the defensive side of the ball and so forth. But I think you make a fair point with the offensive talent that they have. I could certainly see them putting more points on the board this year, therefore putting themselves in more competitive situations in the second half.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to just see what Southeast is going to be this year, especially if I get who I want to get fantasy wise. Now, Coach, we're going to go to the top of the league here in a second. You know, with the big, what we like to call them over here, the big three right now: the Paint Valley, Unio, Zane Trace. But before I get there, two teams that really are interesting to us is Piketon and Westfall. You know, they had complete opposite seasons last year, where Piketon came out gung-ho beginning of the season, and then as the season went on, they ran into some stiffer competition, and the losses started piling up where, you know, we talked with Coach Logan Stepp earlier, and he was talking about the exact opposite. They came out of the gates a little sluggish. You know, he's like, not to call out my players, but they're kind of playing for my stats more than the wins. They sit down, they have a conversation, they come out, and they go on a tear, win the last 3 games of the season, and one of them being against Piketon, where winner go home, winners go into the playoffs. What are your thoughts this year on Westfall? I'll ask you about Westfall first. What are your thoughts about them this year? Because they finished 4th in the league last year. Do you think they're staying right there at 4th? Do you think maybe they can make that leap up to 3rd or 2nd, or what are your thoughts on them?
Well, I think you guys make some great points, and I had a chance to listen to that interview. I enjoyed that, and the difference between winning and losing is sometimes just a few things here, a few things there. It could be a call, it could be an execution of a play, limiting a mistake, so forth. And so talent and athleticism separates them from the league. A lot of times, what happens in the top league, those even some nature, and so it really comes down to execution things. I think certainly going to have some marks at court and so forth. I think Pike are better, and that particular junior class going to be one that has to push forward. Piketon was a team that sort of to Paint Valley in the first half last year and blew a big league. I know Westfall felt like they competed with some of those top teams as well. So I think Piketon and Westfall are both in a situation of beat who you're supposed to beat. And then as you get into these bigger games, can you limit the mistakes and can you execute at the right times to give yourself a chance into the second half? Because again, both of those teams certainly knocked on the door of knocking off a couple of those top half teams last year for sure.
Especially with Piketon having Luke Golian, Buddy Wilson coming back, and then, you know, their wide receiver core, they lost Brent McGuire, but they still have Mason Thacker and Wade Fowl. I feel like they are the team that, you know, where they lost some people last year. Now that losing Zane Brownfield on the defensive end, that's a huge blow. But I feel like you and Yoda lost more than Piketon did. Zane Trace lost more than Piketon did.
Yeah, but you're talking one of the best defensive players in the league. And when
Yeah.
you talk Piketon, it's like you look at Southeastern, they have this offense, but the problem is how many points they let up.
Yeah,
You know
they're
what
like
I
the
mean?
James Harden of
It's like
football.
if they with Westfall was a perfect example because they took multiple years to start limiting the amount of points they were giving up. Finally, last season they finally started putting up more than the defense allowed.
Yeah.
I remember talking about it last year with them. Just kind of how is that defense going to shape up? We knew Bryce was going to be good, so it kind of came down to them. And but I think that's the same thing with Piketon. You know, yes, I feel pretty confident about their offense, but dude, like Zane Brownfield, like when you watched a football game with Piketon, you were like, this dude stood out.
I feel like Zane Bradford was the kind of guy where he would hit somebody so hard on defense that would get the offense. You know what I mean? You see somebody hit somebody like that, you're like, yeah, I'm ready.
That's why I think he got carries.
Yeah.
It's like, look, man, like he was one of the
Yeah,
best linebacker
carrying
in the
people
league.
off the field.
But I'm like, you know, when he's getting carries, I'm like, I don't know, but he's there. But it's like, I think he earned it. They're literally sitting there being like, I saw what you did on defense.
We gotta give
Go
it to
ahead and
him.
give me a touchdown.
Now, Coach, we'll go to the topper half of the league here. Paint Valley, Unioda, Zane Trace. We've been, you know, I hate to say it, but we've been kind of scared about that David Long transition. We do think he will be a good man for the job, but, you know, trying to fill the shoes of a Newton Hoops is going to be tough. And then, you know, you got Zane Trace with Gunna. We call him Gunna the Stunner, Gunna McCullough coming in. having some good varsity minutes last year, moving Silas Stewart to the running back position. They have a lot of question marks. And then really Paint Valley, we've been saying you got to look at them and saying it's their league to lose. They have the most talent coming back this year. A lot of people think it should have been, and when I say a lot of people, me, thought that they should have won the league last year until those last couple of weeks. So what are your thoughts on the top 3 teams from last year?
Well, I think when you look at those teams, you're going to have a lot of star power, and the way this stuff works, media people are going to, and rightfully so, throw out your names like Robertson and Free, and you said McCullough and Dunn and Hoops and Cutright, and all these names you're going to hear all year, but again, I kind of go back to the defensive side of the ball, as you were saying. That's where the separation comes. The offensive line, that's where the separation comes. I think the biggest question mark for me this year in the SVC will be, where does Zane Trace and Uniota's enrollment of size and strength in their junior and senior class show up now? Maybe names that we don't know about, maybe not necessarily quote-unquote returning starters, but guys that provide some of that age and strength up front. Because I will say this on the Paint Valley side, this is a Paint Valley football team that's really, really old. This is going to be a lot of juniors and seniors on the football field across the board. And so even with the star power, I think it's going to show up a little bit more in their ability to play in the trenches. So I really think as far as the long transition at quarterback, I really like it for Uniota. I think he's a smart kid. From what you watched last year, he's a competitive kid. Certainly a capable thrower, but I'm intrigued by what it can add to the run game with that dimension and so forth. So certainly, you mentioned the 2 scary teams, Westfall Piketon. Those 3 teams at the top you're mentioning with Paint Valley and Zane Trace and Uniota trying to reload. I think we're in for some pretty competitive football.
And
what do you think about Zane Trace, though? Because that's kind of, out of those 3 teams, I look at Paint Valley, and it's really hard to say it's not their league to lose. But Zane Trace, to me, it sticks out. Gunnar getting those snaps last year. I know you lost some big guys, but that being said, man, I feel like they're kind of returning a lot of the same spirited guys they had last year.
Well, I would go back to the depth. St. Trace is another team. They pass the eye test when it comes to some of their skill kids and so forth with bigger, faster, stronger. And so even though you lose some starters to graduation, what you're starting to find is as their numbers grow in their program, a lot of times what happens in those programs, you get that sophomore, junior who is a JV lineman or maybe just getting a little bit of Friday night time where they're waiting their turn. You know, I mean, where a lot of times in these other programs, you're thrown into the fire when you're 15 years old if you're ready or not. In the Uniota Zane Trace type of program, as they've established their program, their number one strength should be their enrollment. It should be their numbers. It should be their ability, their depth. And that's what I'm intrigued by. Even though there's a lot of names we may not recognize when we first see their depth chart up front, I still think you're going to have a lot of juniors and seniors that are going to provide a lot. And you said it, man, the Zane Trace skill kids, if they get the work up front, they certainly are going to deliver the stats and the point total that make you very, very competitive.
Now, he talks about being thrown into the fire. Let me to you about being thrown in the fire. I'm talking about going to Westfall and Coach Holland just preaching, we haven't beat this team in 15 years, something like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm a sophomore. I'm getting thrown in garbage time every game, right? Tyler Rumfield goes out, twists his ankle, done. Coach Holland throws me in there at center. First thing that happens, Dakota Morgan grabs my face like, you ain't losing us this game, sophomore. I'm like, gotcha. First snap, 10 feet over Anthony's head. It was, and let me tell you, we did not win that game. So, yeah, you can talk about being thrown into the fire. It's because he's talking about you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, you're playing these freshman games, you're playing these JV games, and you try to take it as serious as you can. But, it's a Saturday morning. It's more you feel like you're just kind of going out there having fun. And then, I mean,
feels like AAU.
Yeah, those lights get bright on a Friday night. Let me tell you, I went out there, and when you're a sophomore and you're looking at grown men across from you on the other side.
He spoke on it so well, and we don't touch on it enough.
Yeah.
It's just the age difference.
Yeah.
Dude, when you're, I
was getting manhandled.
17, 18 years old, you're full body.
We go to the next game against Adena, greatest game I ever played in. We go down 21-0, win 28-21. It was insane. But they pull me in the second quarter. Like, what are you doing out there? I'm like, what am I doing against seniors?
Trying my best.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm getting ran over. I'm sorry. And then, Coach Queer just yelled at me. I typed in that.
Do you have any, I love Silas Stewart coming out of the backfield. I love him as a player. He's always been a personal favorite of mine.
He at least mentions him once a show.
Size 2, baby. But that being said, I love that out there. Do you feel like that's something that might work?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. Again, it's
sir.
a lot of times it's teams that are going to possess the ball. Like if you start looking at it from a fantasy standpoint, and I turn a little bit more fan than coach, you're a lot of times you're looking for opportunity. You're looking for teams that are going to possess the ball, teams that are going to spread the well, teams that are going to score a lot of points, and certainly I think any of those Zane Trey skill kids are going to be at the top of that list for sure, because again. They're going to score the football.
So I got a question. Is there any younger defensive players? I played defense. I didn't get the ability to play both sides of the ball where I went. Is there any defensive players that might have been younger last year that you were kind of keen towards, or somebody that I should be looking out for? Because I love watching good defense.
I don't know about younger, but the one football player out of Paint Valley that always has caught my attention, he's actually a little older now, is Colton Yoakum. I just think
I was hoping
so he mentioned all the Paint Valley players earlier. And
We love
Colton
big Colton Yoakum fans here at the Ride the Wave show. Sorry, Coach.
But when you talk about older men,
not
like
at
that
all.
guy could be put anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what's funny about that is I remember him coming in as a freshman, sophomore, younger player, as we said, and it was one of those where the coaching staff's just looking for ways to get him on the field because he's just a football player.
Yeah.
So now what's happened is, he obviously he's a grown man. He's a young man now that takes the field on Friday night with all that experience and that passion and so forth. So he's one. Depending on how they're going to use him. But, I mean, you're talking about a kid throughout his career has played some running back, offensive line, defensive line.
He's literally going up to coach saying, put me anywhere.
Keyword,
I'll do it.
passion.
Yeah.
You see it?
Oh, he's the most
it
passionate kid I've ever – so I coached him his freshman year on JV basketball. Let me tell you right now, and he knows not a basketball player. Like, he loves playing basketball, but, like, just not – not built for it. It's not really – he's built as a football player. 6-foot kid down there with – I'm talking like 6'2", 6'3" kids against Southeastern. 18 rebounds. Just straight out worked these kids.
Ate their lunch.
No.
But he did the same.
Pretty much, yeah. He took the rebound and their lunch and said, it's mine now. So whenever you say passion, Coach, I mean, I would put him up for one of the most passionate players in the SVC. I mean, he goes out there with his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, he really does. And, you talk about basketball, he's got the same type of motor, and he's dealt with some injuries throughout the winter. And probably, if we're being honest, that's probably been a little bit of carryover from football, in terms of the wear and tear of some of the playoff runs and so forth. But from all the reports I've been able to get, seems healthy, seems ready to go. So I would think he's a young man that fantasy football is funny because it's just like when you play it at the higher levels there in the NFL. A lot of times it may not be the sexy pick, right? It may not be the big time pick for the stat sheet stuff or whatever. But I can promise you, if you just like football, this young man's a football player and he's going to impact winning and losing on Friday night.
Hell yeah.
We do fantasy football.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of picks that we make. We're like, hey, this is probably the right pick here, but I love this kid.
Dude, gotta love.
I really thought you were going to take Silas Stewart 101. We don't know. You still might. I would put the over/under pretty high on that one.
I love some Silas Stewart.
Now, Coach, before we move on to volleyball, is there anything football-wise that we kind of didn't hit on that you think we, should be said or very important that we should know about because we're stooges?
No, I think it's pretty much covered. The only thing I would throw in is you always look at those first 3 weeks. Scheduling plays such a big factor. You really do need to be fans of one another. Obviously, the ability to get SVC wins and strengthen the conference and strengthen some of those things so that the league puts itself in the best opportunity with more playoff opportunity.
Now, Coach, going over to the volleyball side, Unioda, after Adina won in 2022, Unioda comes back and wins it in 2023, 13-1. I think their only loss was to Adina earlier in the season. But I heard that Adina has lost a pretty big piece for their volleyball team this year. So kind of drop some knowledge on us on what we should be looking forward to for this 2023 volleyball season.
Yeah, as you go into the season, I'll be honest, it's hard not to look at some of the reload of Uniota there at the
Jade
top.
Stewart.
I mean, I know that they were yes. I mean, they were hit hard by graduation, but as you mentioned with Stewart and some of their middles back with Park and Detweiler, and then they just had role players with Stanley and West and so forth. So I see the depth of young ladies coming back that played in a lot of big matches. And then, as you mentioned, Adina, you hit by graduation, you have some kids and some roster turnover and some different things there. And there's some special individual talent throughout the league that we can talk about. But if you're asking me team wise where to start, you're always going to throw the name of Dean out there over the last 35, 40 years just because. But again, Uniota certainly a roster that probably has a nucleus that would certainly be worthy of them still wearing the bullseye here in the preseason.
Now, I want to talk about Southeastern because they've really just been knocking on the door here these past few years, finishing third last year. Also, obviously, we want to give our respects to the late coach. Do you think that they can break through the ceiling this year? Because I feel like I just said, they've been knocking on the door. They're a consistently great volleyball program. I feel like they kind of get overlooked in one of the top programs in the league because of Union, because of Adina. What are you looking forward out of the Southeastern Panthers this year for volleyball?
And did they lose Josie? Was she a senior or a junior?
No, she's back this year.
That's
She'll
what
be a senior.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that they could be pretty good this year, but I didn't want to say that.
I don't know. Had like 100 more kills than the next person.
Well, yeah, there's a young lady when you start talking fantasy or reality, whatever you want to talk about. Volleyball is just really, really good. Stat sheet stuffer, and she's someone that impacts all the different things. Southeastern is a team that certainly they're on the radar still. Over the course of 14 matches, will they have enough to go start to finish and win? Maybe. That they certainly graduated a few pieces. Off the top of my head, I know they still have some size with Ruckle in the middle there, and Stouffer on the outside's a nice young player, and Gracie Brown, who had the breakout basketball season and so forth. So I may be missing a Lady Panther or two there, but yeah, they have some pieces coming back, and obviously having that star power to lead the way certainly doesn't hurt. When you look at Uniota's depth across the front line, that's a big factor to me. And I'm not sure how deep the volleyball league's going to be in terms of beating those top teams. So that could be something. The head-to-head matchups are going to be huge there at the top of the league.
I think they're going to be electric. I mean, yeah, we talk about Uniota and Zane Trace on the football and basketball field, but Uniota Dina volleyball. Coach, I actually kind of want you to kind of chime in on this because, I've always watched it from afar, but, I mean, people go insane for those Uniota Adina volleyball matchups. Is it just because they're at the top of the league? Is it the level of volleyball that they're playing? What
history?
Yeah, what makes that matchup just a must watch every single time that's on?
Well, I think what it is it's kind of stair-step this here a little bit. SVC volleyball, first of all, pretty much sets the standard if you come south of Columbus or stay east of Cincinnati. It really does. I mean, there's really good programs year in, year out, your Wheelersburg, your Alexanders, your different things like that. But I'm saying overall over the last 25, 30 years, SVC volleyball has really kind of been the standard that you judge high school volleyball by down here in this corner of the state. So when you look at it from that perspective, now you get into the league, your top couple matchups are always going to be big. There for the longest time, is the Adina Westfall matchups or the Uniota Adina matchups or usually. I think what's happened with Uniota Adina is those two particular teams over the last decade have just been two teams that have just been mainstays right there at the top. And they're so good, even though there's depth in the league, there's just not the ability down in that 5, 6, 7, 8 hole in volleyball for the upset. Volleyball is not really an upset sport. So when you get to those top 2 or 3, the head-to-head is pretty much going to decide who wins the league. And I think when you add all of that together and you put those two teams on a stage, you're just talking about some really, really high volleyball. And a couple of those matchups you're referring to over the last, 5, 6, 7 years, you've had multiple Ohio performers, just big time play, and it's been a high level of volleyball. And I think we live in an area that's become accustomed to appreciating high level volleyball.
Now, Coach, I got kind of a two-part question here for you. We had, I think, 2 or 3 teams go to districts last year. First off, I want to ask, who's a team that we haven't talked about yet so far that you think should get their flowers? Westfall finishing 15-9 last year, Huntington finishing 14-9, and that's crazy to say because those 2 teams finished 4th and 5th in the league, and they finished that good. So who are some teams that you think, A, we at the Ride the Wave show are overlooking because I feel like we overlooked the whole league, and 2, who are the teams that you think are either going to make it back or make it to the districts this year?
Well, I would say to answer your first question, probably Huntington. Huntington's a really talented team. They still are going to bring back over half of their rotation. They'll have 4 or 5 girls that have had some varsity success, not only in volleyball but in sports across the board. They're getting a little older, so they're led by a very talented Casey Carroll. She's another terrific kid that's going to stuff a lot of stat sheet columns each and every time out. But they have some depth. Zane Trace will be much improved. But as you get to the tournament setting again, when you start going your separate ways in divisions, in the past it's been Division 2, 3, 4. Now with the different format and so forth, we'll have to get used to that. But nonetheless, our league, what makes us so unique is come postseason, we're going to separate off into some different divisions. So I see no reason why half of our league won't advance to the district tournament.
I wanted to
again
say
this
that,
year.
but I did not want to sound arrogant. I was thinking the exact
well, no,
same
it just it's just and again, I said this kind of in football a little bit. It's not always every year created equally. Some years our league's just been flat loaded, and we just put 5, 6 teams into the district and maybe even 3 teams into the regional. This year, I want to be fair. I think our league overall is probably going to take just a hair, maybe a step back to reload a little bit. But again, when you're saying that in the SVC volleyball, it still makes you better than most of the volleyball out there in the area. So
Yeah.
I really feel like SVC volleyball, come tournament time, especially with the level of coaching and the way the conference prepares each and every team, I see no reason why half of our teams won't find their way to the district tournament again this year.
I feel like whenever he talks about the conference reloading, but it's still better than you're just talking about SEC football.
Pretty much.
Is what SVC.
Is there any specific players from like a Zane Trace, Westfall, like an Aubrey Clark comes to mind? Like, is there any players, on some of those teams that we might not see a great record, but we might keep an eye out for?
Yeah, the in fall sports, sometimes I've got to check myself on rosters, and as the older I get, I forget who's graduating. I've said I've done this for 30 years now, so I keep getting older, and the kids keep staying the same age.
Yeah, we cut a 10-minute promo a couple of shows ago, Coach. The kid's not in high school anymore, so that was a waste of time for us.
So I apologize if I messed this up off the top of my head, but you mentioned Clark of Westfall's terrific. Platt, Zane Trace is back. I mentioned Carroll. I mentioned Logheed. As you move down the list, Karis Dye's a tremendous athlete at Paint Valley there. I mentioned some of the other Southeastern girls earlier. I mentioned a long list of Uniote. I don't know if we mentioned much of what Adina was returning. They certainly, off the top of my head, Burns coming back. Day in the middle. Day's a nice hitter in the middle for Adina. So Sowers, I believe, is still a senior there. So they're, look, Adina volleyball is going to be just fine. There's going to be kids coming up off JV that were waiting their turn, and they'll load it up and go again. But yeah, each night out, it seems like we're blessed with just a lot of talent across each and every roster that's filled with kids that would play just about anywhere they went to school.
If you say that the volleyball SVC is the football SEC, then Adina is the Alabama Georgia of that. It's like, hey, are they going to be able to reload? Yes. Just so you know, yes. Well, I've never heard the players. Does not matter.
Then Huntington's the Ohio State, and I'm all for it.
Now, Coach, we want to talk to you a little bit, I guess, about your past because we got Brock Blanton came back from injury. Now he's back pitching for the Paints. We had Cruz McFadden last year pitching for the Paints, having a great college run. You know, you've been coaching for a long time, and now we're seeing a lot of these great pitchers that went through your program coming back and playing for the Paints. What does that just mean for you as a coach, you know, to see one of your players not only just go off to college but come back and play for a team that pretty much anybody that grows up in Chillicothe wants to play for in the Chillicothe Paints?
Honestly speaking, a championship team at this point.
Back to back, baby.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to talk about it. It's not just
rings.
Simple.
Yeah, it's just really rewarding, is what I would say. You know, when you've coached as long as I have, and you know, Clay, I heard you even talk about this as a young coach yourself earlier. When you're coaching, the most gratifying thing is relationships, and that's not just relationships you're building with kids while you're coaching them. It goes on to be lifelong friendships and so forth. So when I see kids over the years that have played, we've had a lot of Paint Valley baseball players that have decided to go on and do real well in college just as a student. Some have gone on and played football, and here recently, like you said, we've had several try the baseball route. Even Lane Metler down at Rio Grande and so forth. So it's rewarding. You love to see kids go and get their education and continue, and the passion to throw. Those particular young men you're referring to is obviously very, very talented. They have a gift to throw the ball really hard, and it's been awesome to watch them grow and follow. I know our Paint Valley group. I appreciate Brian Wickline and Chillicothe Paints. They allowed a Paint Valley program night. Just the other night, we had a chance to go out there, and Brock had thrown the night before, so we didn't get a chance to see him throw, but we did get to go out and support the Paints, and they were able to get a win, and that was a lot of fun. So it's kind of neat to see the program past and present support each other, and could not be more proud of each and every one of the players and what they've gone on to do.
Well, you ever sit back and give yourself a pat on the back, man? Because if not, you should do it right now.
He's way too humble.
I'm telling you, like,
listen,
just from not being from this area and hearing your name as many times as I have, and then as I sit here having your stats in front of me, probably at a 75% clip when we do this show. Man, you deserve one, man. I respect the hell out of you.
I did want to say, Coach, you know, there's a lot of ways that I went through learning sports, but one of the more ways that I've never been more grateful for was what I don't know if you ever called it, but we just called it CC, Class with Combs, because about every Monday we'd go and we'd have baseball class about teaching what a 5-tool player is. What would you do in this situation? Okay, well, what about this? What about that? And you really taught me not about just baseball and playing it, but how to find the joy in watching baseball. And the best way I can really describe it is I was at a Paints game this year, 0-0 score going into the 9th inning, and everybody's talking about how boring of a baseball game it's been, and they get to me, and I'm like, well, there's been time where it's a 1-2. What is this guy going to do? Guy running on first and second. How is the left fielder going to come up? Is he looking? And all of that just takes me back to sitting in those classrooms and going through all that, which I would be lying if I said when I'm a junior in high school I thought I was too cool for school. I'm like, when am I ever going to use this? And I use it every single game. So I just wanted to say, you know, I really enjoyed your unique approach to coaching, and your approach to doing the SEC Sports Zone is a big reason why this is a thing that it is today. So honestly, a lot of people don't understand how much thanks that we have to give to you for a lot of the stuff that we do.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and like I said, my love for Paint Valley and the love for each and every kid that I've ever worked with is obviously deep, but then that even extends out across the SVC. The Cider Valley Conference has been a part of my life as a student, as an athlete, as a coach, as a media member, you know, a lot of different things, as an administrator now over the last 30 years. So I have a great love for the Cider Valley Conference, and I appreciate that, the kind words for sure.
Everybody. Oh, you got something?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
I see the things hanging in the background. Obviously, you've got some great moments. You're talking 30 years. Is there one that sticks out? Even if it can be fun, it could be the best one. It could be whatever you want.
I can tell you the worst one. I was probably in it.
Can you take away the like?
Honestly, I'd say
can you take it away?
The best moments probably with Clay when he saw him graduate and he's like, I don't have to deal with him no more.
I don't have to explain why he's in the 7-hole anymore.
Well, look, each and every team. I know this will sound coach speak and cliche. Each and every team is its own team, and it's a unique challenge and it's unique relationships. I guess if I was going to dare single out one, it would probably be the regret for the 2020 seniors
Yeah.
and the opportunity that they didn't get.
That team was loaded.
It was a program that where, we had kind of built from, 09, built up to real good success. And then they're in the 14, 15, 16. And then we were kind of building it back up. The 19 team had a really nice year. And then the 20 team, you've already mentioned them here tonight on the show with Brock Blanton and McFadden and Metler on the mound coming back with a senior class that included Dane Miller and Bryce Newland, a young Dax Step, and all sorts of players. I'm sure I'm going to leave out if I dare try to name them, but that was a team that when COVID hit, we were right up to picture day, and we were getting ready to start that year. And in all the years I've been doing this, I would be lying if I said that I wouldn't need one hand to count the years I felt as confident about a group coming out of preseason as I did that one. So I always feel for those seniors. For me, I've been allowed to do this 30 years, but for those guys, kids only get to do this 4 times. And for some of the, many of those kids, the 2020 seniors there, that was their senior year, and that was taken from them there. So that's a year that'll always sting a little bit. And I always hate it for those kids that they didn't get the opportunity to showcase that.
Dude,
I refuse to leave on a bad
They
note.
had a 3-headed monster going into that year. I didn't think they were going to be able to be stopped.
I want a good one.
No, that was good.
That was so.
No,
it's
that
good
was
for you.
No.
Okay, that's too humble. You had to have a moment where you said, like, come on, what's framed in the background? Give me something. Something good. That sounds sad, and you're right.
He won two district championships back to back with me there, but it has to be that.
So he had a hindrance. That's a handicap. No, I'm kidding.
No, Coach, thank you so much for coming on, dropping the SVC knowledge on us. It's always a pleasure to have you on, getting to talk sports with none other than Mr. SVC himself.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, Mr. SVC Shane Combs. I'm not kidding, man. I can tell you his worst right now. He won't say it. When I got thrown out that regional game, he was pissed. I mean, crowd trying to fight me trying to fight crowd, had to be the most embarrassing moment of his entire life. So, sorry, Coach. Sorry, Coach. But, we
I
lived.
should have asked him worse just to see if he would have held back.
Oh, I swear he probably would have went.
Like, that
This
guy
guy.
sitting beside you, a real piece of work.
Well, I will think that technical difficulty for the two truths and a lie not coming because college football. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
it's 7:55. It's draft time. We don't know. I don't even know if we got. All right, Michael Keaton. Somebody else. All
right, so let's get to the draft. I don't know who we went last time, so yeah. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, I won everything.
Yeah, that's
All
you.
right, so
all right.
we're
Second
going
place.
yeah, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All
All
right.
right, I'm going
Okay.
second. Damn, I wanted to go
I kind of threw that one because I was like, I'm double rocking. He's gonna get me.
Wait, I want to pick mine.
I'm double rocking. Oh man, I had some.
You want to go first or third?
Nah, I go first.
I say because that is true. You
That's
get to
true.
pick. You
You
won.
get picked. Okay. All right.
But that is the question. First or
hand me
third.
that.
Second sucks.
Hand me that pen real quick, please.
Here you
All
go.
right. So we got
Is this right? Yeah, this right. I wrote the speech with this.
Tony. You are first on the
Do you
clock.
see over here? No.
4.
Bah!
We didn't tell what the draft is.
Oh yeah. Great hosting today, everybody.
Yeah. So I was just naming random actors.
Yeah. So today we are. I thought I said it earlier with Logan Steph, but I'm going back around.
No, you just asked. You
No, I
just
did
asked
not.
a random off the wall randomly who would you pick to represent you with 2 actors?
Yeah.
like-
So that's what we're doing today. We're drafting actors to represent us in court. So
Let me
Tony.
say about a good one. He actually changed kind of like my formulation. Of
Oh yeah,
what
because
it
I went
would be.
straight comedy. So Tony, you're first up. Who you picking?
You guys are going to jail.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Okay.
So I didn't want to do Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Liam Neeson, but I want some intimidation, and I feel like I don't want him to speak the entire time. I just want him there and him to lean over, whisper in somebody's ear, not say anything particular, and then walk away. It'd just be like, Jesus, what is he doing? Like, not
Yeah.
only could he mess me up in the parking lot, I feel real weird about
I'm
the way
gonna
he's doing
kill.
it.
I'm gonna kill this one.
So I went with another route. I went with straight comedy. I thought, if he could make you laugh a lot, then you maybe would feel that I was innocent. No, yeah. I went with Kevin Hart. That's it. I went with Kevin Hart. I feel like he maybe.
You definitely want a guy from Philadelphia in front of you.
Yeah, I definitely think that he's maybe played a lawyer at one point. So that's kind of what I was like.
Not a very good one if he did.
Yeah, probably a terrible one. So I had to go Kevin Hart. I went that laugh factor because if I go to prison, at least I'm laughing my way to prison.
I think I'd be more mad. But you think this is a joke? This is a damn joke. It's my life.
This is my butt.
Yeah, so on my law council, clear number one pick should have been first off the board, Matthew McConaughey. Not only was he in A Time to Kill, right?
Lincoln lawyer.
Lincoln Lawyer. That's a great one. That's a great one. So I'm gonna have to go.
Spelled his name wrong.
Yeah, I'm going out with Matthew McConaughey, and then number 2, Tom Cruise. A Few Good Men.
Cool. I still got mine.
You can't handle the truth. Be like, I told it the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're yelling at me still, Tom.
Yeah. And he pretty much did handle the truth after he was told.
He very much could handle the
He
truth.
handled it.
Back to me then.
Well, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with Leonardo DiCaprio because I feel like he is just the kind of guy you can be like, I need you.
He's gonna put a performance on.
Yeah, I'm
for
like,
it.
I need you to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's gonna go follow a lawyer around for a whole year.
Like one of my favorite scenes of his body, like his entire body of work, is in The Revenant. He has like a 5-minute non-dialogue scene where he's just trying to survive.
Oh,
Like,
dude, the
yeah.
Django scene where he breaks the glass on
Yeah,
accident.
Yeah.
yeah.
That shit's crazy.
My favorite is watching Jamie Foxx talk about. He's like, I don't know if I can use some of the language that's in it. And he goes, no, like that guy would have. And then he's like, you wouldn't even like because like they were good friends. And he's like, and then it clicked in him because he's a method actor. The next day he's like, he wouldn't even talk to me on set.
Yeah,
like,
I like those people.
yeah.
All right, goes to you.
I'm going Joe Pesci.
That's another good one because of my cousin Vinny.
Oh, yeah. He knew exactly what was going on. And honestly, I like the way he could talk to a judge. Sometimes lawyers are scared of judges. He rolled up to him and was like, I'm wearing a funny suit because I had to go to the dry cleaners, and your stupid bum town didn't have no dry cleaners. So I think
He's gonna have a unique perspective on it. And that, like, literally, my cousin Vinny shows like exactly what you're talking about. Like he would excel at that.
fast.
You
talk
got
there.
another one too.
Let's go.
I might need your help with my pick. I can't remember his name.
Oh.
I'm going to go with give me Joe Rogan.
Wow, did not see that coming.
1, girth.
Yeah.
Still sitting over there. 2, outlandish. He's talked to a million different people. He's probably got a
Is
thousand
he an
different
actor?
ideas.
Does
Oh,
Fear
shit,
Factor?
yeah,
Does Fear
you're
Factor
right.
count
Sure,
as?
yeah, he wouldn't be an actor.
Well, Fear Factor,
No,
does
no.
that count?
No,
Nah,
because
he's a
that's
host.
reality TV. I
Okay.
thought he was in a couple of movies, but
No,
I
he was in
can't.
like some small show and stuff, but I don't know. If we can count it, we can count it. If not, let's go with somebody super smart.
Well, yeah, your name, Joe.
Terrence
Rogan.
Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. That's more of a, okay.
Because the more I'm thinking about it, I don't think he was actually in anything.
I can't think of a
He
show
talks
that he
about
was
on the show that he was in like the backdrops of things, trying to get. No, he had a sitcom actually. He actually had his own, I think. Either way, it doesn't matter.
So Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Okay. Who's the guy in my pick, right? Okay. Who's the guy
John Ralph.
in Parks
John
and Rec?
Raphael.
No, not John Raphael. Although oh man, I really got to put that in my back
I've
pocket.
never seen
for,
anybody act like
Yeah.
me before.
Who's the guy in Parks and Rec in the last season that keeps messing up? That's not Jerry.
Oh, you're talking about John Hamm
Is that his name?
from Tag,
Sure. He's in that. He's in
Mad Men.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy that's in Mad Men.
Yeah,
that's
that's
who
John
I'm-
Hamm.
John Hamm. I'm going
Apparently,
John Hamm.
word on the street is I have no like. If you know what I mean, it's what they say.
Oh,
Like that's what they
Yeah.
say allegedly.
like size the table,
Yeah,
like ripping people in half.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked him then. Be like, just whip it out, man. Like,
Allegedly, I don't know.
Innocent.
I don't know how
Yes,
true
he
it
is.
is.
all right.
skinny
Are we going
pants today.
4 or 5?
I don't know, 4, 5.
4? Or doing 4 or 5?
I
We're
would
doing
say
4.
five.
This is your last 2 picks.
Well, I'll do 5. Fuck.
Okay,
Hell
so you
yeah.
got 2 picks here.
I'm gonna have to go with Robert Downey Jr.
I like
Nice.
And then I'm trying to think of somebody else maybe that's a little. I guess I'll go stick with it. Kevin Bacon's.
Nice. Man, you guys went way different than me.
Yeah, because I
You
want
guys
to
like
stay. I
trying to
want to
not-
stay.
Yeah, you guys
I
are
want
trying to not go to
Yeah, I
prison.
do not want to go
And
to
I'm
prison.
like bringing in people that are probably giving them every reason to send me to prison.
I got all this long hair. It ain't gonna work for me in prison.
Yeah.
So
Don't drop that soap.
yeah, it ain't gonna work for me, dude.
I'm going back to Parks and Rec because this person is exactly how his character
Jam.
is. I'm going Nick Offerman, Ron Swanson.
Yeah. See, I feel like he would be a bad person to get because he's just like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of government.
I think he'd go to
He'd look at you and be like, he actually did it. He's not a real man and won't say it, but he did it.
I thought you were going Rob Lowe, and it's like, yeah, well, if he can channel Chris from that when he's
Yeah.
like, I literally am over prepared on everything.
All right, Tony, you got 2.
Is this the end of it?
This will be the end of your draft.
I need Henry Cavill.
Solid one.
I guess he's super smart, and obviously if he's standing on the bench, like I wouldn't really want to talk to that guy either. And give me Elon. Oh, he's not an actor.
Elon Musk was in Iron Man 2.
Let's go!
Was he really?
Yeah, he was in Iron Man 2.
Elon Musk.
It was a very like
Elon Musk.
Tony Stark talks to him. He's like, get out of here. I gotta
Yeah,
go.
2024 Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Let's go.
My turn. I can't believe I had to look that up to remember his name. I'm going Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's wild.
I could
That
not
you had
remember
to
Mel
look
Gibson's
him up.
name.
What did you
Isn't that
look
I
up?
went Braveheart.
Who's Braveheart? Yeah.
Yeah, I went
Who
Braveheart.
is
I
Braveheart?
almost went. Yeah.
William Wallace.
And I almost went.
I am William Wallace.
I almost typed in The Patriot because I knew he'd pop up on that underrated film. I think that's one of the greatest.
Oh,
films
Heath
of all
Ledger's
time.
in it. Dies
Yeah.
in it.
Do you
I know, dude. I love Heath
One
Ledger.
of the
Makes me so
dude
sad.
that he
But yeah,
plays
Mel
in
Gibson.
that
He's getting me innocent. So
the dude that he plays in that movie would have been one of my selections if we did the historical draft.
oh, like his character in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an actual person.
Francis Marion,
Yeah.
Swamp Fox. Dude, I remember sitting
Hell,
in history
dude,
class.
William Wallace would have been a good one to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do that one next. The
Yeah.
historical battle. Oh man. All right, Adam, you got 2 picks to round. Oh no, you got 1 pick to round out your team.
This last one, I know she was in a
Female genius.
She was in a TV show called Entourage.
Okay.
Sasha Grey.
Okay. See, when you
I
said
don't know if you guys know who that is.
I
But
don't.
Yeah, I do.
I said a lot of.
All right, do you just want a shot at her before you go to prison?
yeah, that's like she's in the back burner. Like
So you're saying there's
who
a
I
chance?
almost
Yeah,
went, who
sometimes-
I almost went with over Nick Offerman and Mel Gibson was the chick that plays the lawyer in Ted 2. Just because I know they're blown down before they get
See,
out.
every time I see her, I think of Mean Girls, and it's a 30% chance it's already raining, and it's like she just doesn't look smart. Plus, she smokes weed in that movie. I ain't gonna have no pothead represent
Yeah,
me.
come on now, dude.
I do. All right. Well,
Ew.
that is our celebrities. Sorry, our actors representing us in court. Adam had Matthew McConaughey, Tom Cruise, Robert Downey Jr., Kevin Bacon, and Sasha Grey. Probably gonna win again. I had Kevin Hart, Leo DiCaprio, John Hamm, Nick Offerman, and Mel Gibson. Tony had Tom Hardy, Joe Pesci, Terrence Howard, Henry Cable, and Elon.
Henry Cable. Henry Cable.
I like that too. I love my team. I love my team.
Oh man! All right. Well, hey, anything that we left out before we get out of here today?
You missed the one correct answer.
Oh,
It's Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman!
shitballs.
Wow, yeah, that
You
would
roll
be,
up there and literally narrate.
you would
the
be
entire thing
drafting
and be like,
God,
Yep.
the voice of
Whatever
God.
he said, he's just right. He's been talking for 30 minutes. He's
Yeah.
not guilty.
I don't know. I think if you had Morgan Freeman just walk in, he didn't have to
walk
say
out?
anything. Yeah, he'd be like,
Do I need to
innocent.
talk? No.
No, thank you.
Say the squid wins.
Yes. Thank
Yeah, if
Sid
you
the
want him to
Squid.
narrate you going to prison.
Um.
And the judge said,
All right. Well,
Guilty.
again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Coach Steph and Coach Collins, for coming on, letting us drop that knowledge. Give him a little clap. A little clap. There we go.